Welcome to GenXAdulting. Today we have a guest, Ben Greenfield. We're so excited that he's with us before he heads out on another new journey. And since we're a generational podcast, I think the first thing we should cover is what your generation is, which officially you're a Gen Z, but you're really a Zillennial. Did you know that?
I honestly had no idea what my classification was, but I'm glad to know that I'm, breaking down borders between Gen Z and
There you go.
Zillennial.
Zillennial. That's
Okay,
good.
so what? Okay,
Did you make that up, or is that actually
no,
a real,
it's
real thing?
actually a real generation. So Gen Z is from 1997 to 2012, if you were born in those years. So you're literally the oldest Gen Z, but people who were born in 1997 do not identify with Gen Zs at all, but they don't identify with millennials. So there's like these few years in between from like 1997 to 2002 that are Zillennials. They don't identify with Gen Z and they can't relate to millennials. And you have unique experiences, like you grew up with a technology-free childhood, but you did end up having a phone and social media. So you started off, you're one of the last generations that was able to have a technology-free childhood, but then you didn't halfway through, if that makes sense.
No,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's a very unique generation. I know when we talk, our son Nathan, when I've mentioned to him, well, you know, you're Gen Z, he gets really upset, but he also isn't a millennial. So it's because you guys are Zillennials. You're your own little group and you have your own little unique experiences that only that small little group have. So I find it very interesting. So you're our first Gen Z officially interview, but you're our first Zillennial. You're representing.
I prefer Zillennial.
Yeah,
I'm wearing
cool.
that with a badge of honor. I like that.
I like that too.
Yeah.
Zillennial's cool.
Yeah.
But I guess we should start with what our connection is with you. So you are one of our older son Nathan's best friends. And can you tell us first how you met Nathan and what that experience was like?
Yeah, absolutely. It was Florida State University, 2015. Nathan and I were pledging the same fraternity, Kappa Sigma, back in the day. And I actually kind of remember it to the T. I remember looking across the room in one of the chapter room meetings when we were getting the entire kind of pledge class together. And I was wondering who that dude with the backwards hat on with the shaggy hair sticking out was. And from there, I don't think we hit it off like immediately. It was such a large group of people to begin with. We started off with about 90. So as they kind of started dwindling people out of the class, people got closer. And then somewhere along the way, probably about like a month or two in, Nate and I really started hitting it off. Our passion for music and everything kind of came together, as well as just both being in a new place, taking on college for the first time. So yeah, that's kind of how it happened.
And I would say, from an outsider looking in, the friend group you guys have from those days is phenomenal. Just a phenomenal friend group from what I observe.
Yeah, no. It's funny because so much has changed, but so much has stayed the same. I mean, we still have a group message running today with anywhere from like 15 to 20 guys from college. And it's funny you bring it up because probably about a week or two ago, someone was like, when did this chat get started? Like when did this group message kind of get going? And Nate and I were like, I think it was actually Pierce who said it, but I'm like, I think Nate, Ben, and I were going to a music festival back in like 2017, and it was just three of us, and the group chat name started as like Rail Invaders because that's when we were, we were young in our music days, and all we wanted to do was get to the rail at every single concert. So yeah, it was a small kind of core group that's grown, but as it's grown, everyone's stayed incredibly close, which is really great about it.
No, it's amazing. It just seems like such a special thing. Every time Nathan talks about one of you guys, his whole face lights up. He's just still so close with all of you, and I know he cherishes each of you, and we think of all of you as family. So, and we feel very lucky that we've been able to kind of get to watch you guys grow up from college freshmen to the men you are now. It's cool.
I was just about to say, you can't give Nate all the credit for his cool friends. I mean, when freshman year, we were coming down here to y'all's old home, actually,
Yeah.
and getting to hang out there and kind of live the Boca lifestyle. And, you know, I remember we came down here on spring break freshman year to kind of start off our spring break. And it was always so much fun hanging out at y'all's place. So I think a little bit of that can be attributed to everyone staying so close.
I vaguely remember that.
Really?
Yeah, I kind of do.
Oh, I remember all of that. We partied.
Oh my God. I remember when Nate and I first started DJing together and DJing in general. You know, we sounded awful, but we were figuring out the board, trying to get everything together. And we came down to y'all's place to record our first mix. We were so excited about it. We were recording for hours and just drinking Coronas. We totally forgot to eat dinner. And by the time the mix was completed, it was like 10 o'clock at night. We're hammered. Kaya has like 3 friends over. You guys are drinking with us.
Yeah.
Like me, you, Nate, Brian, we started throwing back like tequila or something. We were so excited.
Funny.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And Dylan would have been this like 2-year-old or something, or like 5-year-old.
Just
I don't
hanging
know.
out.
Just along for the ride.
Yeah.
And no, those were awesome days. So when you graduated from FSU, what was your first step? Did you get the traditional job right away, or did you take some time off? Like, what was your first step out of college?
Unfortunately, I didn't take time off. It's actually funny. I had initially wanted to take about 3 months off, go over to Thailand and Bali. I have no idea why those 2 locations. I just had heard kind of in the ether, Thailand, Bali, Southeast Asia, cool place.
Yeah.
And I was actually in the works of kind of planning that trip out. I had a job. The job had a start date. I was moving to San Francisco, and I had actually interned at that job before in the summer previous to graduating. So I, knew my manager and kind of knew everything. And she reached out to me and was like, "Hey, we have this really big event going on in Vegas for sales kickoff. However, it's a month before your start date. I really think it would be beneficial for you and a cool experience if you kind of came out here like a month early, started a month earlier than you intended to." And, back then I was gung-ho on starting my career, whatever it might be. And I actually decided to do a cross-country road trip moving to San Francisco rather than go travel and take a little bit more time for myself to go out of the country. So yeah, I wanted to take some time off, and I kind of jumped in because culturally and socially it was the right thing to do. Your manager texts you, come out to this big event. The funniest part is, a few weeks before the event, hey, to save money, we're actually doing a sales kickoff just in the San Francisco office for people in your position. So you guys are not going to Vegas. So
no way.
It was an awesome cross-country road trip, but that was kind of one of those first memories of like, oh, there's corporate fucking you over.
Yeah.
So,
what year was that? What year did you guys graduate?
so I was 2019 with Nate, but I was December of 2019 because I did 4.5 semesters, double major, got the extra football season in, would never trade it for anything in the world.
Yeah.
So that was right around February of 2020 is when I started, and when I graduated it was like December of 2019.
So that was right when COVID hit.
That was right before
So you
COVID.
got out of college, moving to the Bay Area, and COVID hits.
Well, yeah, literally moved to San Francisco right before COVID. Like right before it.
Yeah.
So right as your post-college life is about to start, everything shuts down.
Oh yeah, it was the first big trip I had planned as an adult with a career was Okeechobee Music Festival, which, as you guys know, back then that was like the end all be all for our friend group. Get everybody together. have a great time. Our
Yep.
festival, we'd kind of been going from the inception of it.
Mm-hmm.
I literally hop on like 3 flights, have to take a red eye. I'm covered in dirt, had to leave the festival at 4 a.m. to get back to the office to make it back to my job. And people are looking at me on the planes because this is right when COVID's happening.
Yeah.
I'm like sick as a dog.
This
I've
is
just been
March.
Yeah.
This is March 2020.
Yeah.
So this
And
is
it
right.
was in full flow.
I want to
flow
say it
by
was the
then.
week of my birthday. So it would have been like March 8th, March
Yeah.
9th. So it was
Yeah.
right before the shutdown, I think.
Yeah, so I'm sick as
Yeah.
a dog on this
Yeah.
plane coming back from a music
That's
festival
hilarious.
looking homeless. And there's news going on about don't be around anybody that's sick. And I'm like in my airplane seat, like
That's
trying
hilarious.
to get back. And when I landed in the airport, I called a coworker and I go, hey, like what's going on at work? Like, what do I have to be ready for? And he just goes, you came back? And I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean you came back? He's like, yeah, we just got work from home for a month.
Mm.
And literally in the airport, I booked a ticket back to Florida because the office was my everything. I was 2.5 months into living in San Francisco.
Right.
Work from home wasn't really a thing
Mhm.
back then.
Right.
I didn't have a desk set up in my apartment yet. My apartment was the size of a shoebox and I was paying way too much for
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
that was actually it for my San Francisco stint.
So the trip across the country, how long did that take you to get to San Francisco?
So I did it it took me from Atlanta, Georgia to San Francisco 9 days.
So you had some fun.
Yeah, me and my best friend
Yeah, cool.
did it together. He came out with me. You guys might know him, Jack Monahan.
Oh, I don't know if we've met him. Maybe once.
Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
He kind of came around later. He was an Atlanta guy, but
Okay.
he knows all the Florida State boys
Yeah.
quite well now. But yeah, so we had fun. We stopped in New Orleans. One of my other best friends lived there. We stopped in Austin, Texas for a few days.
Nice.
Made it to San Diego. Went up the coast. Did Yosemite as well.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, we had some fun with it. So like I said,
That's good.
it wasn't the worst thing in the world giving up the international travel, but
But then to get out to San Francisco, get an apartment, and then just to turn around and come back to Florida. And then how long were you in Florida then during COVID?
indefinitely 2 years. So I had a 6-month lease in San Francisco. I didn't go back to San Francisco until my lease was done and I was moving out of my apartment.
Wow.
Went back there for 1 weekend, packed up all my shit,
Wow.
put it in my car, which was still in San Francisco,
Right.
had it shipped back to the US. And then I was just bouncing back and forth between families' places, friends' places. And then the second half of COVID, I got a girlfriend and got very fortunate. Her family was over in the UAE in Abu Dhabi during
Wow.
COVID.
Wow.
And she was watching their beach house in Jacksonville Beach.
Oh, okay.
I was this newly remote working guy living in Florida with her. So I kind of fell into a free beach house in Jack's Beach during COVID, which,
Amazing.
you know how it was
Yeah.
down here. We kind of
Yeah.
beat COVID like 3 weeks
Oh,
in.
yeah.
So I was just riding around on a beach cruiser, going to beach bars for like 2 years while all my San Francisco coworkers were hopping on Zoom calls and calling me the devil that I was, going out. And I was like, I'm just on the beach. I'm enjoying myself.
Amazing.
That's hilarious.
Amazing. That's so Florida.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
just sums up the Florida COVID experience, honestly,
Yeah.
and people's reaction to it.
Yeah.
Seriously.
So then you were in Jack's Beach, and then from there, where'd you go?
I got a new job like 2 years after the whole COVID debacle started. Still was COVID, but was kind of in that period when things were like slowing down again, right before they picked back up. And I moved to Denver, Colorado. So I got a new software job out there, and was looking at cities in the U.S. I just kind of wanted something new. I didn't know what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go. But I was kind of looking to get back into the office a little bit more. This was still when I was climbing the corporate ladder as quickly as humanly possible. And all I wanted to do was get promotions, make more money, have FaceTime with the boss man.
Mhm.
Right.
And
It's very overrated, right?
yeah, oh my
Yeah.
God. I mean, at least one thing that I loved was thinking, I moved to San Francisco with the sacrifice of you're going to spend all your money you make
Yeah.
just to be in this area where all these, you know, people are that you need to be around to
Yeah.
build a career. And then I had the opportunity to work remote in Florida where I had a little bit more nature. Like I said, I was biking around a lot,
Mhm.
going to the beach every
It's
day.
such a
Yeah.
nice area too up there.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
beautiful,
Yeah,
especially
it
when
is.
it's, you know, people aren't traveling there. So it's only locals. So it
Yeah.
was just
Yeah.
a local beach
Yeah.
town. So that's kind of when I
That's
had
cool.
that come to Jesus moment. Like, first of all, you know, San Francisco's weather's awful. Like for what I consider good
Yeah.
weather to be. Like I like my shirt
Right.
off. I like the
Yeah.
sun out.
It's cold.
Yeah, exactly.
Cold in the middle of the summer.
Yeah, year
Yeah.
round.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, why are all these people paying all this money to live in this big city? And I kind of got, yeah, like you said, I kind of learned early on, like, yeah, this might be a little bit more of a, you know, a little bit
Yeah.
more to it than everybody says. This isn't just the end all
Yeah.
be all best
Yeah.
thing in the world to sacrifice so much to be in this office for
Yeah.
this corporate job.
What'd you think of Denver?
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. There's really nothing not to like about Denver. A bunch of young people, activities, seasonal. The music scene's phenomenal.
The music seems great, right?
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Anything
Yeah.
you want. You want jam, you got it. You want, you know, electronic, you got it. You know, rap might be the only thing you're not getting a ton of, but you
Mhm.
know, Red Rocks is right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've got all these amazing amphitheaters up in the mountains. And what's fun about Denver, what everyone loves is, like I said, seasonal, you know,
Mhm.
and in the winter you're snowboarding,
Mhm.
in the summer you're camping. You know, everyone's always outside doing activities,
Yeah.
and it almost feels like the next thing is kind of on the horizon always.
Yeah.
So,
So let me ask you this. You pretty much grew up on the East Coast, right?
Yeah.
I grew up on the West Coast. So when I first came out to the East Coast, for me it was a cultural shift completely. Just the way the vibe is, the way people are. I loved it. I moved to New Jersey. I loved it. I loved New York. I loved the straight up no shit attitude of the East Coast. Like, you know how people feel about you right away. I found growing up on the West Coast, it wasn't as straightforward. And so my experience was very different between the two coasts. Did you experience that when you went out to the West? Did you feel a different culture out there, good or bad? But did you feel a difference
yeah,
compared to out here?
Had to have been.
yeah, like you mentioned, people on the East Coast are very straight up.
Yeah,
I also think there's a little bit more aggression.
for sure.
Out here.
100%. 100%. Yes.
So,
Would you say that applies to in Atlanta as well? Because she's talking New York, New Jersey, East Coast.
Well, in
Atlanta's
South
a little,
Florida,
Atlanta's
like that, yeah.
southeast, friendlier, I think.
yeah, you get the South, and the South like edges out the East Coast. Personally,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like Northeasterners. I
Yeah.
mean, I have friends from the Northeast,
Yeah.
but like if I have to like pick a demographic of people that I
That's
don't
hilarious.
get along with from the U.S., like Northeast is kind of
I'm offended.
yeah.
No,
I'm just kidding. I'm just
no,
But you like Brian.
it's kind of
Yeah.
like it's kind of like the French internationally. I've got a lot of French
Yeah.
friends I
Yeah.
met internationally, but you know, I tell them
right.
every time. I'm like, look,
they're a
few-
whole
I'm
different
like,
breed,
a few
though.
of you guys have done me dirty. So, like, I love you,
Right.
and you're doing everything you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
to kind of bring them back in my good graces. But
That's
you know,
funny.
I'm a straight shooter. You know,
Yeah,
I let people
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But
So you probably really loved the vibe out in Denver then. Just the
Yeah.
energy of the people and how everybody was.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was just like I said. It was a really good place. There was so much energy. Everybody was, you know, kind of just getting out, doing their thing. Oh, you want to come grab beers with us? Oh, you want to go rock climb? Oh, you want to go do this? We're camping this weekend. Come do this with us. And just the activity
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
base. The
Yeah.
one thing I like about it a lot as well is, you know, especially with folks my age down in South Florida, there's a lot of like who are you type of
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah.
You know, you show up to a party like,
What do you
what
do?
are
How
you
mu-
wearing? What are
Yeah.
you doing? Like,
Yeah.
how cool are you? Like, and then, you know, Denver's just like, yeah, you know, you want to go take some shrooms and go on a hike.
Yeah,
Like, you know,
yeah.
Yeah.
it doesn't really,
Yeah.
it doesn't really percolate the same way of like,
Yeah.
the people don't care as much. It's still out there. I think that's something that's pretty predominant in the US is kind of a who are you type
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
attitude.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
I definitely think even way less than the West Coast, like, you know, Southern California, San Francisco.
Right.
Denver's a nice little happy median. The Midwest doesn't have as much of that. They're
No.
just happy being the Midwest.
Yes, they are.
Very
It's
vanilla.
It's very,
Yeah.
it's so true. They're just happy. So in Denver, is there a place, what was there a favorite restaurant that you ate at that you would, for anyone listening, that
Well-
you would say, I was curious about.
But just to clarify, you're
Yeah.
actually going back there too, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of your home base, isn't
yeah.
it?
For I don't have a home base there. My new girlfriend is stationed in Denver. So yes, that will be my new home base.
Okay.
I'm not
So you've got
claiming
a
it.
girlfriend in Jacksonville Beach.
No.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. There's a few over in Africa and Southeast
There you go,
Asia as
yeah.
well from the travels.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's kind of coming full circle, and I'm saying I'm temporarily relocating to Denver. I'm not saying I'm moving there
Mhm.
again, but yeah, it's all coming full circle. So I'm kind of going back there right now.
So is
Yeah, that's
there
cool.
a favorite place that you like? Like, was there a regular place that you would eat when you were there?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of, so there's the local spots, which I'm trying to think of one of the really good ones we would go to all the time. But, oh,
What was Denver known for food wise? Would you say? Like, I know in Portland, growing up in Portland, it was microbreweries.
so that's one of the things I will say about Denver is you don't get any specific, at least in my opinion. There could be some local Denver folks there that are going to get pissed off at this, but you don't get any like specific cuisine. Like for instance, the South, you get like barbecue or
Yeah,
soul
yeah,
food.
yeah.
Florida, you get a little bit more seafood. Southern California, you get the Mexican influence. Denver's just Midwest America. So like
Okay.
they have good food there. Don't get me
Right,
wrong.
right.
Okay, actually,
I bet the Mexican food is fire.
it's good there.
Yeah.
And okay, this just reminded me, Sushi Den is a great spot,
Okay.
and Fire on the Mountain for wings.
Oh, that's cool.
But
Old dead influence there.
yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
you would love this place. Fire on the Mountain, great. They got little tiny wings, which sucks, but their sauce is just next level.
Mm.
Cool.
And then the other thing, the reason the seafood's actually good in Denver, international seafood being shipped into the U.S. around the West Coast, obviously California, all those
Yeah.
places on the coast, they don't really need international seafood imported. So
Right.
Denver is actually the first stop
Mm,
in the U.S.
interesting.
So there's a lot of like sushi restaurants or
Wow.
restaurants in Denver that will get that overnighted sushi so they can serve very fresh fish.
I never would have thought of
No,
that.
me
Yeah,
neither.
Ever.
it was
Interesting.
weird. And I was like a very anti-eating seafood anywhere that's not by the coast.
That's
I'm
Brian.
totally that way. I
Yeah.
won't
Brian.
eat seafood out of Florida.
Yeah, exactly. And then I,
Yeah.
started going to these sushi places in Denver, and I'm like, who have I become? What's
That's wild.
going on here?
That's not the weed though, saying like, "Oh, this sushi's so
No,
good."
no.
It's really good.
The weed was constant in
Yeah.
Florida and in Denver. We
Okay.
were smoking just as much. So
Yeah.
yeah.
You know,
So-
culturally, we were in Colorado, I think, last like 30 years ago when we drove around the country.
Yep.
Oh, when it was Member.
What's that?
that?
Have you heard of Member?
No.
No.
So it's gone away a little bit, but like Colorado or Denver's nickname was Member because for a long time it was like 80% dudes, 20% chicks.
No
like
way.
if you were
What a
like
trip.
if you were a
Men
Like
Okay.
Alaska, probably.
yeah, if you were an
Member.
okay looking woman with a pulse that could have a conversation, you were
You had
like
your pick.
top of the tier.
Wow.
and Member.
This
Yeah.
would have been 1993.
Okay, that was full on Member.
No way.
Yeah.
That cracks me up.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
so. Oh, I missed my
You-
chance.
No, I was about to say, Brian,
Man,
I'm
you hit the
surprised.
fucking jackpot.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't have to walk around beting dudes off with a stick
Yeah, I
when you
know,
went,
right?
went there. It was a barren
I
wasteland.
never even knew that.
Yeah,
That's so funny.
Sounds very like Wyoming-ish.
Yeah,
Or
we went there too.
South Dakota
Yeah.
or something.
So then after Denver, where did you go?
Okay, so I'm living in Denver, and I'm working. I got a new job. I was working fully remote. This was a company that did not even have offices, so I'm working fully remote. Living in Denver, settled in there for like a year and a half, 2 years, and I'm loving it. People are awesome, having the best time ever. But I'm just kind of getting this itch, you know when you get that itch,
Mhm.
that thought in the back of your head that's like, hey, you've been here for about 2 years. You've always wanted to kind of check out, internationally. I've always traveled internationally, but it was like week-long vacations with my family.
Mm-hmm.
And they were incredible, but, you don't get the same kind of experience as when you travel solo or when you're younger and you go travel or
Right.
whatever it might be. So I was like, okay, come on, like this is great, but I don't think you want to be here forever. So I had the fully remote job, and I was like, okay, maybe we'll give like the digital nomad thing a try. Like, maybe we'll just say, fuck it, pack up everything in the apartment, sell off most of the furniture, put your stuff in storage, and you're working remote. Like this kind of whole counterculture.
Do it while you're young.
Yeah.
Actually.
I didn't have a girlfriend at the time. Jacksonville Beach had been,
Yep.
she got nixed. And didn't have a girlfriend, didn't have a mortgage, didn't have a car payment, was working remote, and they weren't really going to stop me from doing it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, shit, let's kind of go see what's going on here. And I've always loved the beach. I was born in West Palm Beach. My dad's from Southern Florida. My mom's from Orange County in Southern California. They raised me in Atlanta, Georgia, which I'll never
Totally
understand.
landlocked.
Never understand. I think that's what kind of spurred most of my love for the beach, is like it was in my blood and they just kind of took it from me.
Yeah.
But
I assume what spurred it, probably your dad's job, I would assume, right? Is why they ended up in Atlanta. Is that what brought them there?
Yeah. And then I was kind of away. We would always go to California, stuff, loved it. And I always wanted to be a surfer. I had tried surfing once when I was like 8. Never really lined up again. Where I wakeboarded, wake surfed, all that as a kid.
Snowboard?
Yeah. So I snowboard as well. Wakeboarded growing up, wake skated, wake surfed even. But like,
wow.
I don't know. I just always loved the beach surf vibes. Hanging out at the beach, people surfing, super chill. So one thing led to another, and I was doing a lot of research, and 2 places that I kind of identified I really wanted to go to were Costa Rica. And then there were a few other locations, but the other one was Sayulita, Mexico. Both places I picked. So I picked Jaco, Costa Rica. Me not being a big world traveler at this point at all, having done no solo international travel, I had heard Jaco was easy, heard it spoke a lot of English, really good surf. Just it was easy. I hadn't had few friends who had been there. I'd heard a few things about it. So the original plan was go to Jaco, do 3 months in Jaco, and then, go to Sayulita afterwards in Mexico.
So you were in Costa Rica for 3 months?
So I went down to Costa Rica, surfed every single day, worked remote, made some amazing friends, some great locals, was down there. And the whole game plan is, I'm going back to, I actually had a work conference in Las Vegas. I was coming back for Burning Man. I was going to Burning Man. So I had like a month back in the US, and I was going to go to Sayulita afterwards, but I was actually at this big surf competition down in Costa Rica. I'd been there for like 2 months, was about to leave to go do all those things. And I'm just at this big surf comp. All the locals are there. All my friends are there. We're drinking beers. We're having a good time. I'm looking around and I'm like, damn, I really love these people in this place. Like these people are awesome. I've got a great group of friends here. I love my house. I love where I surf. I loved everything. So I was like, are you really going to just pack up and go do this entire thing again somewhere else? And for me, it was like, no, you're not. So it changed plans, canceled Sayulita, Mexico, and just rebooked down in Costa Rica for more time.
Nice.
So then went back home, did Burning Man for the first time ever, got stuck in all that mud and all that good stuff, and then came back to Costa Rica and was living there.
So
No
how
kidding.
did you find a place to live in Costa Rica? Like if someone wanted to do what you did, do you plan that ahead before you leave America, or did you just get off the plane and then start researching for a place to live?
So I did Airbnb actually.
Okay.
And it's almost, especially if you're going to these places where, not only Americans are traveling, but Israelis are traveling, Europeans are traveling. Like there's these hot spots that just, especially
They're worldwide attractions.
Yeah, they're worldwide attractions. Costa Rica is one of them. It's almost too easy now.
Okay.
Like everyone speaks English.
Okay.
You can find everything listed online, booking.com, Airbnb.
Yeah.
I almost wanted a little bit more of a challenge. I wanted more of like, you're out here. But no,
Right.
it's you call an Uber from the airport.
So it's very Americanized, I guess, in my mind, I would say. as
Costa
far as-
Rica specifically.
Yeah.
And they've done great. Like their dollar is very strong now. You can use US currency there. They're a very big hotbed for tourism. So Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool. So it'd be a easy place, I guess, quote unquote, easy place for Americans to
Super
visit.
easy. Super
And they
easy.
like Americans?
Oh, they love them.
Okay.
They've done a great job with tourism. Like they really have killed it. Like, yeah, they've got folks coming in from all over the place, and it's almost killed backpacking culture there. It's so good. They're so expensive now because
Right.
it's so expensive from all of these folks from the U.S. going
Interesting.
that backpackers can't really make it work anymore. You can get a room for $5 a night over in Asia and other places in the world, and you can get a room for $30 a night. And this isn't a shared dorm room, like when you're sleeping in a bunk bed,
Like a youth hostel type of thing.
Yeah,
almost.
yeah. So this is like a hostel room. So Costa Rica just got expensive.
Wow.
Yeah,
I think they made the decision years ago, maybe in the 90s or early 2000s, that we're going to be an ecotourism country, and they kind of got themselves wrapped around that. So it sounds like it's working.
Yeah. I mean, everything about it, and that's what like really lit the fire. If there was already a spark or a fire in me to kind of get after it a little bit, like Pura Vida, that's their whole country's motto is Pura Vida, means pure life. You go there, you don't know any Spanish. If you know Pura Vida, you'll be good.
So how long were you there for then total?
So I ended up being there from April 2023 to November 2023. So
nice.
That's cool.
8 months,
7
7
yeah,
months.
cool.
Now,
With the Burning Man in between.
With the Burning Man
cool.
in between, the little break.
Yeah,
so
cool.
Was there a favorite place in Costa Rica that you visited that you'd say was your like number one place?
Yeah, I mean, so I like for surfing, Estorils was 30 minutes south of me. Most beautiful wave. You're out there. All there are. It's actually really funny. There's the place I would surf. There was a cow pastures, right,
cool.
kind of on, and that's where they would pick. You can get shrooms down there from there. So, and when it's in season,
no kidding,
you'll see people out there picking the shroom. You go surfing. You're on this completely deserted beach. My one buddy who is y'all's age, he became one of my good friends. He was a Florida boy originally. He shapes surfboards down there now.
Oh, nice.
We're surfing.
That's so cool.
We're out there, and we're out there. There's not many people, and he shows me this little boat coming in and out, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's the cartel. They're delivering gas to the guys off the coast a little bit. But they're the nicest guys in the world." He's like, "Yeah, I'm letting my daughter hang out with them. They watch her while I surf, and she's really young." But they really are nice. But you're just out there. There's not much. It's little houses here and there.
That's wild.
Beautiful waves. You're just on the beach, out in nature. Their nature is the most.
What's the business the cartel's in there? Is it smuggling drugs?
Yeah, same thing they're in everywhere. Yeah.
So would you say overall it's safe?
Yeah, it's really safe, especially if you're white.
Interesting.
And the reason that is because since it's such a tourism country,
they want your money.
And they want your money. And like, one of the reasons the cartel goes somewhere, they're trying to sell drugs to tourists, like for the most part, it's tourists coming in town that want to buy, they get in town, they want to party, they want to do their thing. So that's why a lot of the cartel traffic gets driven there. If you have any news or your place gets flagged as possibly harmful to tourists, your entire, not even your business, the entire economy is taking a hit. So it's kind of like an unspoken golden rule there. Don't fuck with the gringos.
Right.
Because if you do, then
It'll
unfortunately, like it's going to hurt tourism, which hurts everybody. So it's more unsafe there to be, in my opinion, a local or someone else.
Does the cartel run the country kind of thing?
No.
There is a police presence.
Not at all. Yeah, they're really good. It's really safe.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, just kind of similar cartel to anywhere else. Underground drug trade, because honestly,
good, though.
more of us, than anything.
Yeah.
Would you say for women even?
Oh, women, super safe in Costa Rica compared to other places I've been to.
Like even America. But yeah, Costa Rica, so it's safe. Like if a couple girls wanted to go down there on vacation. Like, they're fine.
Oh yeah, especially if you pick the right place.
Okay.
Especially if you pick the right place.
Well, like Mexico right now is a total fucking mess.
Yeah.
2 girls were just down there. They got their drinks laced with something and nearly died.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't hear about any of that coming out of Costa Rica.
No.
Not at all.
And to your point, that's their point. That's why they make
They don't. Yeah.
Because you never hear about that.
And the cartel isn't Costa Rican. It's pretty much Colombian as well.
Did you speak mainly English, or did you pick up any Spanish while you were down there?
Benjamín's Español es mal. I honestly, I took classes before I went. I like really, really wanted to learn Spanish. I took classes, and every fucking person you talk to, you say 2 sentences in Spanish, and they just go, all right.
Yeah, that's too funny.
They go, look, man, like my English is a shit ton better than your Spanish, and I want to practice my English. So
true,
that's
yeah.
funny.
And it was funny. My buddy's wife, Mary, she's half Tica, half American, which, you know, Tica is what they call Costa Ricans.
Okay.
Tico's guy, Tica's girl.
Okay.
And I was talking to her about it, and she's the one who told me that. I'm like, God, I just want to learn Spanish. No one wants to talk it to me. She's like, well, everyone wants to get their English better, and your Spanish fucking sucks. And I'm like,
that's hilarious.
Honestly, you're not wrong.
That is funny. You know, that is funny. So was there anything about Costa Rica that surprised you? Like, did you have certain expectations and then they were either surpassed, or something happened that, or you experienced that you weren't expecting?
Yeah, there were a few things. Number one, I think that like I mentioned before with the adventure a little bit more, you know, you think of outside of the US, you think Costa Rica's not third world in my opinion. It might be considered third world, but you know, you think like, oh, you know, this is going to be tough. Am I going to be able to find Wi-Fi all the places I need to work? Am I going to be able to find Western food, or is it just going to be like, no, like they've got it all. Yeah. They've got everything you need. Mm-hmm. Like they've got Uber, they've got Uber Eats, they've got
probably McDonald's.
Yeah. They've got
Starbucks.
Yeah. And then they've got the local stuff as well. Yeah. And like I mentioned, everybody speaks really good English. You can use American money there. So one thing that I was kind of like, you know, you always get scared before you make a big decision. Oh, what's it going to be like? I'm leaving the US. I'm moving out of the US, going somewhere I've never gone. No, it was like so easy, and it was so just seamless. And then 2, kind of what we were talking about before. It's funny. I tell this story to people as I started getting, you know, more friends down there, all types of friends, people working remote, people that own businesses, you know, locals who were just working.
Were they like an expat community?
Yeah, they've got a huge expat community there. But I was friends with, you know, a big group of friends I had were Argentinian guys.
Yeah, cool.
Then there were some, you know, expat Americans I was friends with. And it kind of was all the way from like, I knew people that owned businesses. I knew people that were surf instructors. Didn't matter what your job title was, who you were, where you were from. Nobody gave a fuck. Like I swear to God, I was hanging out with this group of people that I still consider good friends to this day. I still talk to them. And it took them a month a month in, they finally look at me, they go, by the way, do you have a job? And like, it kind of dawns on you, every person you talk to in the US, the first thing they ask you, what do you do?
Yeah.
And kind of what I learned from that is it's almost like our way of sizing someone up before you meet them. Mm-hmm. You know, you ask, what do you do? And they give you an answer, and you immediately try to see if this person's lower than you, higher than you. Are they cooler than you? Do they make less money than me? Do they make more money than me? Should I respect this person? And it's like, well, you know,
it's how we judge people's worth almost.
Yeah. And over there, it was like, we're just asking each other about each other's days. Like, what do we got going on? What's the surf look like today? You know, what are we getting into tonight? Do we want to go, you know, and it really was more about just living at Pura Vida. And more about like just like
pure life.
Pure life, just more like, people don't care.
Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? Like
That's
everyone's a person, you know. Amazing. It doesn't matter if you have this job and this many people think you're cool. You know, if you can show up and be in that moment and be a good person, like it's pretty much all you need for most part. And you know,
that's awesome.
I do think as you go through life, you will come across people that's not the first question. Mm-hmm. And those are the people you start to relate with most. And those become your probably longer term friends.
Yes.
Right. It'll happen. Just like your college friends, you guys weren't like where you might ask where you're from, but it's not like, what do you do? How much money do you make? Those kind of things.
Yeah.
It's true.
It changes.
So then, what would you say the food there? Like if you were to say, oh, you have to try this if you go to Costa Rica.
The mushrooms.
Yeah, you got to go to that cow farm and
hit the cow patties.
Get dirty out there for a little bit. Oh, So I would say not a specific food that I fell in love with, but you got to go to the sodas or the garabitos, which are just like their typical kind of like buffet style restaurants.
Okay.
So those are the places,
Interesting.
yeah, those are the places that are more like locals. And you know, I actually ended up respecting this, but they literally give the locals cheaper prices than the gringos. Like I would go in there and for a whole meal pay like 650, but yeah, USD.
Yeah.
But like, you know, then you'd hear the little, you know, Tika woman behind you come up and they'd say the equivalent in oh my God, am I blanking on what currency they have in Costa Rica? Um
Not a peso.
no, I'm forgetting. But anyways, they'd say like the equivalent to like $2 USD. And I'm like, did I just order the same shit as her? But no, like it's you know, kind of the local spots
Yeah,
where they
that's
serve
cool.
local
Yeah.
cuisine. It's really good.
Yeah.
You know, rice. They've got like chicken with all this sauce on it, good
Mhm.
vegetables, salad.
Mhm.
So those, I mean, that would be what I recommend. Just go to kind of the garden beat those, the sodas, the local spots. They'll hook you up, give you so much food. It's so good.
It had to have been hard to leave.
It was unplanned. The plan was, um, leave, come back home, do holidays, do some friends' weddings. And I was locked in on 2024 Costa Rica, going back down, living my surfer software salesman life. I had
Mhm.
my friends down there that surfed with me. We went out together. We had the local squad. You know, I would go out in the surf lineup, see guys I knew, go out in the town, go to restaurants. I knew the owners and people that worked there. It was a very small community.
That's
You know,
awesome.
when I would ride
That's
around
so
on,
awesome.
Yeah.
I had a bike. I rode everywhere. That's just what I did. I would
That's
rent
so
a
cool.
I'd rent a car sometimes on the weekend to go farther and stuff. But around the town, I would just ride my bike. And by the first month or two of me living there, I couldn't ride the bike without like three people screaming to me down the main drive as I'm going from one
That's
place to
amazing.
the other.
That's
So,
amazing.
When you were doing most of your sales, was it over like Zoom?
oh yeah, it's
Or
fully
all internet?
virtual. So this is kind of the key. Like
That's
my
awesome.
my whole company was remote. There was no
Yeah, yeah.
office. So, you know, I'm in the same time zone as Denver, Colorado when I'm living there. So I'm
Yeah.
like,
Oh, no kidding.
yeah, same time zone. So it lines up perfectly as Mountain Standard Time.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So-
I always picture it further east, but it
No.
wraps around.
Yeah. It goes.
What a
It kind of
trip.
goes like this, and then comes back.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Did they know you were in Costa Rica?
Yeah, it was a good little mix of my manager. Shout out Joaquin to this day, still my boy, the man. He was really cool. Him and I had a great relationship. We got shit done, and the old company I was at had a really good problem of rotating through C-level leadership, rotating
Mhm.
through executives, VPs, never really having a good strategy. So we got shit done, and you know, we always hit our number. We always did good work. So we kind of were like on an island
Yeah.
internally at the company since it was more of a startup. And it was like, look, we're performing at a very high rate. Let's just keep doing this, and we can do whatever the fuck we want.
That's awesome.
Like, you know,
Amazing.
at a company, if people don't really care about sales unless sales stops doing their job.
Right. Yeah.
So
That's
if we're
true.
doing our job very well,
Yeah.
they don't care. You know, my CEO was really, really cool too. He was a really cool guy. I like him a lot. You know, and when I went back to that conference in Vegas, he knew about it and he was, you know, parading me around, showing me off, telling customers about me and my Brazilian yoga teacher girlfriend down there. All
That's
that,
funny.
all that funny
So
shit.
you had a Costa Rican girlfriend?
She was not a girlfriend. She was in the very early stages of anything whatsoever. But yes, for lack of a better word, we'll refer
You
to
had
her
a
as that.
lady.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
lady
very
in
short.
Costa Rica.
How did you get paid? Like, how does that work? Did you have an U.S. based address?
Yeah,
bank
no.
account?
So like, as far as the United States government knew, I was living in Denver, Colorado, and
Yeah.
because COVID, all that shit, way back, you know, wrapping it all around, I never changed my banking from my parents' home address in Atlanta.
Mhm.
So like, even when I was working at
Mhm.
companies, all I really would have to do is input in the system like, this is my home address. So
Yeah.
when I lived in San Francisco, like when I was living in Florida, I was still getting taxed like I was living in California. And I kind of got pissed off
No,
about
it's
it
a huge
Yeah.
at a certain
difference.
point.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I was like talking to my manager and I'm like, yeah, it's kind of fucked. Like I'm only making XYZ. I just got out of college and you guys are taking more
Welcome
taxes
to
than you
California.
should.
Yeah.
And then she was like, oh, well, we can discuss it, but then your salary would be open to change.
Yeah.
Because you're no longer a California employee.
Oh,
And I was like, yeah,
right.
let's just leave it. Let's just
Yeah,
not
yeah.
even
That
talk
makes
about it,
sense.
worry about it.
That makes sense. So why did you leave Costa Rica? Like, why aren't you there right now?
Yeah. So like I said, I had the whole dream lined up. I was going back, was going to the States for a few months to do some stuff. Literally 2 weeks before I'm leaving, I've got no rent payments left. I'm getting ready to go back to the US for Thanksgiving. Going along with the theme of there was a lot of leadership change at my company. A new VP had started about 3 months prior to this event. He did not like me. He was an old school Boston guy. Getting back to my disdain for the Northeast. One of those Boston dudes, never left Boston in his life. Hard ass, old school. You got to be in the office. We're going to be team guy. He shows up and he finds out that his number one seller, who's worked at the company for the last 2 years, is some long haired dude with a beard and nose ring surfing every day in Costa Rica. And him and I just, from the very get-go, did not get along.
What a shame.
Yeah. He was a real, you know, at the end of the day, I got to thank the guy because he gave me my greatest blessing of my life. I'd like to call it as of right now, but him and I did not get along. But three or 4 months of him being on board kind of come in. I did not like him. Didn't think he was the right guy. Didn't think a lot of things, whatever, regardless. Him and I were just butting heads on certain things, and I wasn't just willing to be his slave. We don't have to get into the semantics of it.
No, that's funny.
Long story short, I'm riding my bike though. I literally told my manager, I'm like, hey, going for my, evening surf. He's like, all right, cool. Just, you'll be online later. No big deal, whatever, normal stuff.
Yeah.
Riding my bike, and like 5 minutes later, I get a message from this VP, and he's like, hey, can you hop on Zoom real quick? And I'm like, I literally just left my house. Like, can I just give you a phone call? He's like, yeah. So I give him a phone call, and I'm like, hey, Sean, what's up? He's like, hey, Ben, this is Sean here with Mandy. Mandy's the VP of HR. And I'm just like, oh, well, what's going on, guys? How can I help you? And literally, just without saying anything, he just goes, yeah, Ben, due to your negativity and toxicity to the workplace culture, we've decided to part ways with you.
What?
And I just go, hey, Mandy, I've actually got in writing from this VP on the call, a promotion and a pay raise beginning 2024, pending I hit my number, which it looks like I'm going to do. And I've never had anybody tell me anything about my negativity and toxicity to the workplace culture. Like, can you shed some light on why this is happening? And she's a great woman. Love Mandy. She was always great. But she just got super stern, super HRy with me.
She had to stick to a script.
And no, she said, Ben, you're an at-will employee, and we're no longer willing to employ you. So I just go, perfect. Let's talk severance.
Wow.
Let's get it going. Let's figure it out. I mean, at that point, what are you going to do? Right.
Yeah.
You're done.
Yeah.
It's I was deactivated before the phone call was done. Like you're my manager didn't know. It was just high level chess pieces moving.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I was being stubborn. I was being an aggressive fucking 26-year-old. Like I wasn't making his life the easiest it could have been because I didn't think he was doing his job well. But regardless, it just happened. So I'm sitting in Costa Rica. I'm going back to the US. I always thought about Southeast Asia. There's really good surf in Southeast Asia, by the way. I'm surfing a lot now, every single day in Costa Rica. And I'm just sitting there and I just got fired. And I was like, holy shit. All right. Well, that kind of changes everything. And yeah, it kind of turned into, okay, I'm not going to look for another job. You're going to go back home, do the same exact plan you had, go home for the holidays and just kind of figure everything out. Fortunately, one of Nate and I's best friends, Ali, as well as Mac and Jesus, were going to Morocco. I wasn't able to go to Morocco because of work.
Right.
Oh, look at that. I don't have a job anymore.
Right.
So kind of how things started off is I decided to go to Morocco and Spain with those guys. Went to Morocco, was absolutely incredible. Surfed there.
You actually surfed there as well?
They had surf?
Oh, they've got great fucking surf in Morocco.
No kidding.
Really good. Really good.
Did you have your board with you?
No, I just rented there
Okay.
because I was with the guys.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but yeah, we did the whole 9 yards there. I surfed. We got to see all the culture, eat all the food, saw the cities.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and
That
then
wasn't that long ago, right? What, like 6 months ago or less?
No, that was literally
Over the summer?
We flew out of Miami December 29th, 2023.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So it was like, so we got there pretty much New Year's. We had a fucking, it's crazy because, you know, Morocco's got all these interesting Muslim laws. We had a absolute banging club night in Marrakesh.
Yeah.
They call it the city of Haram. Haram means when you do anything against Islam, like religion.
Oh my god.
So
really?
they call Marrakesh the Haram city
Oh
because
my gosh.
there's parties and shit
Crosby,
that go
Stills,
on
and
there.
Nash have a song, Marrakesh.
They do.
Yeah.
Express, yeah.
No, but it was awesome. We were out at this club, so we did that, and then we were me and Mac got back from Spain. I got back from Spain like first thing February. So
where did you go in Spain?
yeah, so Spain, you can see Spain from Morocco and Morocco from Spain.
What's that called? The
Wow.
Straits of Gibraltar. I
Yeah,
think.
Gibraltar's
Yeah.
that city right down
Yeah.
there. They've got the rock and everything. So Mac and I went over to Spain. So after we did Costa.
Spain is awesome.
Oh my God.
incredible.
Incredible. So we
Yeah.
did the three big cities. We did Madrid, Barcelona,
Yeah.
and Valencia.
Did you have a favorite?
Oh, it's going to sound pretty cliche, but I really fucked with Barcelona.
Yeah, cool.
When Mac and I were there, the first day we walked, I legitimately think we walked 14 or 15 miles. Like we just were walking. The
Wow.
city's
That's
so
awesome.
beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
There's so much stuff to do. We just
Yeah.
couldn't stop.
How were they towards you? Because I've heard recently they're not very happy with tourists, and I saw a TikTok where they're spraying tourists with water from spray bottles, and they're very
The
Not-
Spanish?
in Barcelona. In Barcelona,
Oh,
there's like some issues going on.
They were great to me. I mean, that's the one thing I've noticed is, you know, at least me, I don't know if I get lucky, but most of the places I go where you see online
Yeah.
that there's issues,
You don't.
there's no
you don't encounter
issues.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Spanish,
You got the long hair, the beard.
yeah,
Very
yeah, yeah,
disarming.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the Spanish for the most part, they got a great fucking culture over
Yeah,
there. They,
yeah.
you know, they
Yeah.
got their late dinners, their siestas. They
Yeah.
like to enjoy themselves. Most of the people I met from there were really, really
Yeah.
nice.
I think it was a issue because so many maybe people that aren't Spanish are buying property and making
Yeah.
Airbnbs, and
Yeah.
so it's making the rents go up so high.
Yeah.
So I think there's something going on there, but you didn't see any of that when you were there in December. It was
No.
all good.
No,
Everybody
no,
was
no.
happy,
So nice, so good.
and the food I'm sure was amazing.
Yeah, yeah, we did it in Valencia as well, but the paella, you got to get the paella over there. It's so good.
How were the cities different that you went to? Like, what would differentiate them from each other?
Okay, so Madrid, awesome as well.
Yeah.
Really, really love Madrid. And we had to be, you know, Mac and I, as we're bouncing around, we're like, okay, well, if we're in Valencia from Tuesday to Thursday, and then we show up to Madrid on a Friday, you know, you gotta be fair when you're kind of saying how much you like places, because if you're
Right.
somewhere on a
You're right, on a
Tuesday
party
and
night.
on Fridays,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but Madrid's huge city, a
Yeah.
lot of really good culture there, really good food, beautiful buildings. It's
Mm-hmm.
big, but it's like majorly inland. It's like in the middle of Spain. So the
Mhm.
biggest differentiator for me is Barcelona's super coastal.
Mhm.
So it's another massive city, but Madrid's more inland.
Okay.
Barcelona's more coastal, that kind of vibe. And then Valencia is much smaller than the other cities, at least from what I experienced and kind of what I learned.
Did you drive to each
We took
city?
trains. They've got great
Oh,
trains
okay.
over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long was it? A long time to get in between the cities? There was like an hour, or
2.5 from Madrid to Valencia, and then like 2.5, 3
that's
from.
not bad at all.
I don't think it's not a huge country.
Yeah.
No,
The
yeah.
trains are very good, actually.
Yeah.
They're pretty high speed.
Yeah, no, the trains over there are
Yeah.
phenomenal.
So you basically did like a week in Spain,
like 2,
2 weeks,
2, yeah,
and then
yeah.
how long were you in Morocco?
like 2 weeks.
That's
It's like
amazing.
2 and 2.
That's
yeah.
amazing.
You didn't hit Portugal then.
I wanted
So
to.
close.
I wanted to, but all the guys we were with weren't surfers.
Okay.
So like, you know, I'm like, oh, let's go here. And they're like, what are you going to
Yeah.
do? Surf for 4 hours? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, as much as we want to drink beer and watch you surf, we want to go do other shit.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go do Portugal because I wanted to go like up the south, go check out all the surfing,
yeah.
maybe check out Nazaré.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Mac was like, well, I want to go see the big cities in Spain. And I'd never
Yeah.
been to Spain. So I was like, okay, perfect. Let's go do this.
So what was there one thing that you saw in Spain that you would say you have to see? Like if you could think of one place you went to or restaurant you ate at or something that just you can remember vividly that sticks out to you.
Okay. Yeah. So in Spain, the Museum of Meat, I think is what it's called. It's a chain, but they have this Iberico ham. It's like acorn fed ham.
Wow.
It's fucking delicious.
Acorn fed ham.
So they feed the
pigs
acorns. What a trip.
It's
so what does it taste like? How's it different than?
It's kind of just got this like waxy texture to it. It's like prosciutto almost.
Okay.
It's very much so like prosciutto, but it's so fucking good.
Okay.
And then I would say specifically something. So the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life architecturally is that the church, the basilica in Barcelona. It really is like it's the craziest thing I'll never forget it. I have a video of it. One of our last nights, we're walking around outside of it. It's all lit up, and there's just a guy playing the violin.
Oh my god!
And you're just outside of it, like just looking up. It's the most nutty thing I've ever seen in my life. And I know that's very like touristy. You have to do this, but
no, but there's a reason some of these places
are several hundred years old.
Are
and they're still not done building it. It's not going to be. It's still being built. They're still building it up. It's not going to be done being built till like 2037 or something.
Wow!
What a trip!
But then something that Mac and I did, which was really cool, is there's another really well-known church that has got a huge Jesus statue on the side of the cliffs, kind of overlooking Barcelona. And you go up there and you can go all the way up to the statue. It's like 100-meter tall church already on top of like a massive mountainside, and it overlooks all of Barcelona.
Wow.
And it was really opposite because like the basilica, super touristy, obviously. You're in the middle of the city, everybody's going. But Mac and I were standing on top of this massive church overlooking Barcelona by ourselves. We just walked all the way up there, just overlooking the city.
Yeah, cool.
How did you know to go there? Did somebody tell you?
Or can you see it? Can you see
Oh, well, you can see it. And it's a pretty well-known like spot, I will say. But it's a little outside of the city.
Right.
And it's not the basilica. So it doesn't get the same type of like hype. I mean, it's an amazing church.
Yeah.
But it was really cool because, you know, we had that experience of like, we were literally up at the top of the church overlooking everything. And we're like, there's nobody here. Like, there's nobody telling us what we can and can't do.
That's
like,
amazing. That is amazing. So then same question for Morocco. Is there something that stands out to you from?
Yeah. So we went to the big mosque in Casablanca, which was sick. The markets as well. So Morocco's culture is just so fucking cool. It's like Arabic, but since it's super far over into Africa, it's got its own spin of Arabic with African, and then it's so close to Europe, so it's got a lot of European influence. It's like this just melting pot of all this amazing shit. So the markets are just the coolest thing, and getting to navigate the markets with a local and someone who speaks Arabic is even cooler because you can go so deep, and you just, you know, it's different when you're going to a foreign country by yourself. You're probably not going to go into the local markets and just start wandering deep down by yourself. But when you're there with someone who grew up there, that has family there, that you're out with, it's just a day at the market for them. So
do they speak English there, or is it all Arabic?
It's you're not getting along well there with English. I mean, you can. There's some people, but no, it's not nearly as well. So Ali was like perfect artifacto translator. But we went to the mosque. The bathhouse was really cool.
Okay.
So they had a bathhouse under the mosque, like OG style Arabic bathhouse.
Wow.
And we did that, which was like
centuries old type bathhouses type of thing.
Yeah, just super cool.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That is really cool. And I assume the food is phenomenal in Morocco.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
And his aunt is a chef.
Wow.
And, you know, they every single night, every single morning were whipping us up feasts. Like,
that's awesome.
Oh my God.
Maybe that's where Ali gets his cooking from.
Probably.
Oh yeah.
Because he loves to cook from what I remember.
Yeah.
They don't fuck around.
I'm sure his family, his mother was thrilled. You guys were there.
She doesn't even speak English.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
really?
She was, we became really close with her, but that's the like, she speaks a little bit of English.
Yeah.
A little bit of Spanish. So we were like, you know, doing what we could to kind of make it work.
That's so awesome. You guys did that. What a treat for his family.
Yeah.
That they got to not only see him, but meet some of his friends.
Yeah, they loved it. They were the most
really cool.
most hospitable people you could ever imagine on the planet. Like
That's
the culture
awesome.
there too is like you don't, you know how here in the grew up in the South, like we talked about, like, oh, let me clear my plate. Like,
Right.
they're like, you better fucking sit down
Yeah.
and drink your tea and enjoy everything while I do it for you. And you
Right.
don't even, like, it's disrespectful to try to
Yeah.
help them. All they want to do is give and give
Right.
and give.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then after the Morocco and
I have a quick
Spain.
question
Oh,
though.
okay.
Is it safe? Did you feel safe cruising around at night or
Yeah,
just
I
around the
felt
city?
super safe, but that was like obviously with Ali. And I
Yeah,
don't think
okay.
it's bad. I mean, I think they're pretty, I even say to this day, like, watch Morocco the next 10 years. That
Yeah.
country is on the come up, like, from a lot of different things. From, I think they're the largest export in Africa right
Mhm.
now. Like, they've got a lot of shit going on there that
Mhm.
it's really, a lot more people are working remote there from Europe because it's
Mm.
so close to Europe. They've got a lot of stuff kind of coming. So they've got their shady parts,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, again, we were with locals, so it was kind of like, you just get a different experience when you're there
Yeah.
with a local. You know, it's like going out in Chicago. Is it
Yeah.
dangerous? Yes.
Yeah.
If you go out with people who
Yeah.
are from there and you know how
Yeah.
to get around and you know what you're
Yeah, yeah.
doing, it's a totally different kind of experience.
That's cool.
What about how do they feel about Americans?
I think they
Would
loved
you say?
Americans, to be honest. Yeah, I think they liked
So they
us.
welcome people coming to
Yeah. Yeah,
visit
yeah.
instead, like
I mean,
tourists
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff.
They want to share their culture.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
really want people to see it. They're really proud
I
of
bet
it.
I would have fun at that market.
Oh, the market is the craziest. I mean, they've got anything and everything. They've got spices. They've got fake shoes. Because there's a lot of knockoffs,
Right.
obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, I bought a $17 pair of Nikes that are still with me to this day.
Nice.
I traveled
Nice.
all over Southeast Asia with them, and they work
Nice.
out great. So,
I bet the markets smell good.
Oh,
It's got to be full of
yeah,
scents
it's
and
the
aromas.
best. The
Yeah.
food too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Morocco, eat the snails. The snails were really good.
Like escargot type.
It's
thing?
totally different than the French
Oh,
snails.
interesting.
They don't like the French in
Okay.
Morocco.
Okay.
No one likes the French.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
It's a universal thing.
Disclaimer again, I'll like anybody, but I'll let the French know before I meet them that I'm not the biggest fan. So if you're French and you're pissed off about this, come have a beer with me and we'll figure it out. But
That's hilarious. Okay, so after you're Moroccan and you were in Morocco and you were in Spain, then where did you go?
quick trip back to the US for two good friends' weddings. And then after those weddings, I flew to California, was there for a few weeks, staying with some family in Southern California. And this was really the big kickoff to the Southeast Asia trip.
Okay.
So I was in Southern California early February, and that's when I flew out. So I was just surfing there for a few weeks. And then I flew over to Australia.
Were you in San Diego?
Orange County, so an hour
Okay.
north. So like
Okay.
right in between LA and San Diego, staying
Okay.
in San Clemente.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's where my aunt's from.
And
So
then
That's cool.
where did you go? I'm sorry, from there, where did you fly out to?
I flew from LAX to Sydney, Australia.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
15 hours.
Yeah, that's a long flight.
Damn.
Very.
That's
Very,
a very
very.
long flight. So why Sydney?
Oh God. So I actually had a girl
Another lady?
out there at the time. Yeah, I did. And
It's a valid reason.
and it's
We're gonna
Valid-
get comments from all these ladies.
well, I was looking at, how am I going to start the Asia trip? And a girl that I was very close with from Denver actually was Australian and had moved back to Sydney. So I was like, hey, we had a really great time with each other when we lived in Denver with each other. I'm thinking about coming to Asia. Do you want me to come to Sydney first? Or if I do come to Sydney first, well, we hang out at all or whatever.
Nice game there.
Yeah, so it worked. It worked out great, and then it kind of went there and went all the way up from. I did like the Sydney, did obviously like Sydney, the major city, and then the closest beaches, which are like Bondi Beach, right there. So surfed there, hung out there, ate some good food, kind of explored around, and then we went up to the northern beaches of Sydney for a little while, which is like Manly. It kind of starts. Kind of where the bay is and where the opera house is, like south is like
Okay, yeah.
Bondi and all that. And then a little bit north, you can take a ferry or you go over the bridge. You've got like Manly is the first beach town. Then it's almost like South Florida for like, 45 minutes, totally different vibe, but like, you
Yeah,
just got beach town after beach town after beach town.
And the surfing there is insane, right?
Really, really good.
Better than Costa Rica?
Oh, it's so big. It's you got to pick the spot. You know what I mean? I think Costa Rica overall, Australia is really good. I mean, it's hard to pick for sure.
Yeah.
It definitely gets bigger in Australia though at certain areas and certain times.
Did you have to worry about sharks? That's what I always hear about over there.
I mean, I personally decided not to worry about it, and that was fine. It's kind of Florida's known for being really sharky.
Yeah,
too.
So is it different? Like when
It's
we're
gonna
here,
happen. It's
we
gonna
don't
happen.
think about it when we're here. Is it kind of like that there?
Yeah, I mean,
People just
out of
do what they're
sight, out of
doing.
mind.
Yeah,
I mean, like
okay.
I'll put it this way. This is kind of the way I justify it to everyone. When you get in the car to drive to the grocery store, do you think, oh my God, I might die in a car crash?
Right.
Like you're just going for a surf. You're just going for a drive.
Yeah.
Like,
No, that makes sense.
it's kind of one of those things where, like statistically speaking, it's probably kind of dangerous. Driving's way more dangerous than surfing if you look at it. But like, shark wise, it's probably statistically more dangerous there.
Yeah.
But like, are you going to stop surfing because there's sharks in the ocean?
No. Yeah. So then how long were you in Sydney?
All in all, I was in Sydney for like a week and a half.
Nice.
And then we road tripped up to Byron Bay. So we kind of stopped at a bunch of spots. Newcastle, stopped at this one spot called Crescent Head. I learned a new word there, bogan.
What is
the
that?
Australian version of redneck. It was bogan as
funny.
fuck. It was awesome. It's like this sick little surf town,
I'll have
nothing
to
going
remember that.
on there. Camping, little camp spot, and then this sick little surf spot. Like the latest place open in this fucking town was like 8 o'clock. It was the pizza shop.
Wow.
So if you didn't get food by 8, you're fucked.
Wow.
So we got lucky. We got like a pizza to go, got some beer, and then stayed there.
The pizza any good or does
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And those bogan motherfuckers, they know how to make some
the
pie
rednecks.
up there.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And are they friendly to Americans?
Yeah, I mean the Aussies are fucking awesome
Yeah.
in general. Like they're like the way I describe it, and I know we're Florida folk over here, so I luckily split Florida California because family. They're like California without the bullshit.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the way I describe them. Like they're just fucking awesome.
They're pretty straightforward, honest people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just good.
They drink a lot.
Yeah, they like to have
Like
fun.
to party. Yeah.
They like to have fun. They they're cool.
No, that's awesome. So you did Sydney. You pretty much surfed. Oh, what was the food like? Was there something?
Food was really good there. A lot of seafood. They've got so just a lot of seafood. Nothing like too insane there.
Is it expensive there?
No. You get good pricing there. Really good pricing. So like 75-80% of the US, whatever you'd pay here. Like say 75-80%.
Okay, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
So
Funny, you're asking about the food. I'm curious about the weed.
Yeah.
Is it? Are they tight over there? Are
So
they
I
uptight or?
So I, me being a experienced traveler, I came over with dab pins from California. So I had weed with me. So I did not get to indulge in the local.
But is it part of the scene there or like, Denver or California?
Yeah. I know it's not legal, but
I know they're pretty strict. I think.
Yeah, but they smoke. Yeah.
Okay.
So did you fly from? You would have. Where'd you go after Sydney?
So road trip to Byron Bay.
Yeah.
Byron Bay, incredible, super fucking cool, hippie town, but also like, I mean, it's a rich town. It's like a surf town with hippies in it, but also celebrities.
Santa Cruz.
And it's just so fucking cool.
That's cool.
There's a huge van culture there. Oh, a good buddy of mine I actually met later on in these travels. He was living in a van in Byron Bay for 2 years.
Wow.
He took that van around Australia during COVID twice.
Wow.
All the way around Australia. A good surfer buddy of mine I met.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Cool.
He was a Swiss guy. He was a Swiss guy who'd been living in Australia. And but there's a huge van life scene there.
Okay.
Super hippie town, really fun. But then I flew from Australia, Sydney. We went back down to Sydney and I left there. Nothing transpired with the lady friend, obviously. It was a very fun time, but I was on to the next location and I flew to Singapore. So that was my
cool.
first Asia stop was
Wow.
Singapore.
The strictest of all,
Wow.
I think.
I flew there with weed.
Yeah, you're crazy.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
what I got told. So I had
Yeah.
the dab pens. We can
Yeah.
talk about that in a minute. But yeah, that was, yeah.
That's
What?
lashing material.
Yeah.
That's like
Fucking whip
killing.
people
Yeah,
and
they'd
shit
like
over
just
there, yeah.
beat me in the streets and then
Yeah.
throw me in a sewer or
I
something.
assume you got through customs fine.
He's here.
I'm here. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be
What
here.
do you think that their X-rays just didn't pick it up, or
No, I mean, here's the thing. Everybody in the world nowadays is vaping.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
really no way to distinguish a weed vape from a
Yeah.
normal vape. And then
Yeah.
especially now that there's like the disposable weed vapes,
Yeah.
which is what I had,
yeah,
unless they literally pull it over and go test it, it's not detectable.
Yeah.
So they're not stopping you for it really at any point.
yeah,
So like unless you get caught with it, that's when it's an issue because
Okay.
the dogs can't smell it. It's like, a gram of, I had a few of them. So it was a few grams of
Yeah.
oil. They can't really pick up on it.
yeah.
Still not smart.
amazing.
Mom, dad, really sorry
Yeah.
for doing something that could have got me
We'll edit
internationally
that out.
fucked. No, you can leave that in. Leave that in.
You survived.
I'm
It's all
unedited. I'm unedited. I don't care.
good.
So why did you pick Singapore?
So one, it's expensive as fuck. And this was the beginning of my trip.
Okay.
So I figured, okay, I've heard nothing but incredible things. My dad's been there for business. My best friend growing up as a kid, his dad lived there for a year for work. I've just heard really, really cool things. So
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, I got to check it out. Only went there for like 3 or 4 days.
Okay.
Same thing. It's literally just a city. Imagine a big ass city.
Yeah.
That's Singapore.
Did you stay like in a hotel, Airbnb, or
I kind of got like a little hotel, like studio kind of room thing.
yeah.
I mean, that was even like 80, 90 USD a night. So like it was not cheap, but
And you were alone, right? You're just doing Singapore alone.
I did Singapore alone. The first day I was there, I walked 20 miles.
Wow.
So more than Barcelona, 20
Wow.
miles the first day in Singapore.
And was it safe? Did you feel
Oh,
safe?
Singapore is the safest place on the earth.
Supposed to be the safest and cleanest city.
Yeah, it's the
right?
safest and
Yeah.
cleanest. Like it is.
Because they don't fuck around.
They don't like literally.
Yeah.
It is.
You commit a crime, you're fucked.
It's like utopia, but then there's like,
Yeah.
if you get caught trying to smoke
Yeah.
weed, vaping's even illegal there.
Wow.
Which I learned about afterwards because I met some like English teachers who were foreigners. I was getting beer. They started yelling at me. So I walk over to the table, started having some beers with them. And I hit the vape and then I offered it to them. Like, you guys want anything? They're like, no, I'm good. They're like, what is it? I'm like, it's weed. And they looked at me like, they're like, are you fucking serious? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, dude, one, you should not have that. Two, they're like, you should not be fucking hitting that in public. And I'm like, really? They're like, well, vaping's illegal here. So like
Yeah.
the weed is mega illegal, but the
Yeah.
vaping is also illegal. So like,
wow.
yeah.
That's
They-
crazy.
yeah, it's clean, it's beautiful, it's well run, but the rules are what
Super,
keeps
super
that
strict.
thing.
Can
yeah.
you smoke cigarettes?
Yeah, maybe. I think so. It's Asia. They
It
love
is,
their
yeah.
cigarettes over
But
there.
I assume you have to dispose of them. You can't just put them on the street like Americans do then if it's that clean.
No.
Yeah.
Littering over there, you get beaten with a cane.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, capital punishment.
Yeah.
It really does wonders.
We have friends who moved there. Like the Pawns moved there for a while.
Yeah, but I never spoke with them about it.
Yeah.
So I didn't know.
No,
what
you
their
don't fuck
experience-
around over there.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
The government's even open about it. They're like, we know our laws are strict, but
Yeah.
like we don't fucking care. That's why we do it.
Come here and
Yeah.
conform
Yeah.
is basically it, I
Yeah.
think.
That's kind of how it goes there.
So did they like do you get the feeling they like Americans? They like tourists?
I think they love Americans over there. Like they really
Yeah.
love it over there.
And
Yeah.
what about did you speak English pretty much?
Oh yeah,
primarily?
it's English is the main language.
Oh,
there.
okay.
That's their main language.
Wow.
Actually, is English.
Wow. And then what about in those 20 miles or those 3 or 4 days you were there? What did you mainly do? Were you mainly in the city or were you venturing out a little bit?
So there is no other thing besides the city.
It's
really.
just the
I mean, I'm
city.
pretty sure it's like 50 square miles is the country.
So it's kind of like going to Manhattan.
Yeah. And it's a
Okay.
very nice, very clean city. I mean, I'm sure there's
Pretty modern, right?
Oh, so modern.
Yeah.
So I was just exploring around, checking some things out. And then you mentioned food, chili crab.
Chili crab.
You've got to get the chili crab and go to the Hawkers. It's like their big cafeterias with all their different restaurants
Yeah.
there. But the chili crab, especially the black the black pepper as well. So there's the chili crab and the black pepper crab, the pepper crab too. Like the crabs there, they're
Okay.
expensive as shit. I think I paid like $45 for one,
Yeah.
but it is so fucking good. It's like,
Wow.
it's
It's
insane.
hilarious.
Yeah.
That sounds so good.
But I was Singapore'd out after 3 or 4 days.
It's kind of like going to Vegas. Like you do it and then you leave.
Yeah. I mean, I was on a
Yeah.
surf trip trying to explore Southeast
Yeah.
Asia, and I
Yeah.
show up in this completely
Did you have your board with you, or
Yeah, I had my surfboards everywhere I went with me
Oh, shit.
leaving California this whole trip. That was a fucking
I
experience.
cannot imagine doing that. We travel with like lacrosse poles, and that's a pain in the ass.
And that's in America.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
crazy.
exactly.
I came across any and every possible obstacle to get
I'm
those surfboards around there.
Did they
but-
just, was it an issue as far as people didn't want to deal with your surfboards? Like as far as in Ubers or on?
No, well, I mean, I had a 6'6" board and a 5'10". So
Wow.
Oh, you traveled with two.
yeah, with two.
That's
So think about,
Wow.
you call a Uber, you need an XL.
yeah.
Wow.
And they don't have Uber in some of these countries. You need a massive taxi.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
a lot of problem
Wow.
solving
Yeah.
along the way.
So you just kind of ventured around the city for a few days, and then where did you go?
So it was 3 days really. It was in and out. So flew from Singapore to then Phuket, Thailand.
Nice.
And was that just beautiful?
Oh my God, incredible. Phuket was amazing. But here's the thing. I love Phuket. A little bit too touristy. Not too touristy for me, but just like, touristy. It's very touristy. It's very beautiful. The
Mhm.
islands. So the islands I went to kind of, I think it's not might be the Bay of Thailand. I'm not entirely, or the Gulf of Thailand. I'm not sure, but it's the islands right next to Phuket, like Koh Phi Phi, Koh Lanta. You take ferries there.
Nice.
That's like the next level beautiful shit where you're doing like
Wow.
snorkeling, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Are most of the people there in the cities? So they're those outside the city, it's chill.
No, they're everywhere, man.
It's overpopulated,
They're
right?
everywhere.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's, I mean, like it's that country specifically as well has got so much going on. It's
Yeah.
like absolutely crazy. Yeah.
So with Thailand, did you just stay in one area or did you travel around Thailand?
Yeah. So I was specifically in Thailand. There's no surf there really. So Singapore, obviously no surf as well, just from the location. So was surfing a lot in California, surfing a lot in Australia. 3 days in Singapore, no surf. And then Thailand, I was there for like 3.5 weeks to start.
Wow.
So it was more bouncing around.
So you were really there just to see Thailand, not to surf.
Yeah.
That was-
I knew that I needed to go to Thailand.
Yeah.
That was another excursion with the surfboard. So I fly into Phuket. Phuket's still mainland, but it's, almost like a little peninsula-like thing at the bottom of Thailand that
Mhm.
is all on the coast on both sides. Beautiful, lots of party, lots of good culture there. The
Could you
Buddhist.
surf there?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, you might be able to once every blue moon if there's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
storm, but no, it's very flat.
Yeah.
So going down Phuket, having a lot of fun, staying at all these hostels, partying with all these, people from all over the world, Germans, Australians, Argentinians, Russians, a lot of Russians in Phuket.
Really?
Phuket is one of the areas that all the Russians are relocating to now that it's awful to live in Russia. And they love to travel to Thailand. Russians,
The oligarchs or the normal people?
Normal
like
people.
regular folks. Okay.
normal people.
Is
I
it
got-
not far?
It's much easier for Europeans to get to Asia than it is for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. But for the Russians, it's not.
I would imagine it's like I don't know how long the flight is, but it's. I mean, when you're in Asia,
It's not that far.
Yeah,
If you look at the risk board,
Yeah.
yeah,
there's your
Risk.
geography.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's true.
yeah. I mean, it's not bad. It's
Yeah.
not bad. So you get a lot of them over there. I actually met some of the best Russians I've ever met. I met at this beach club in Thailand at it was a nicer hostel I was staying at, but it's still a hostel, but it's like a luxury resort hostel.
Yeah.
So the beach club was open to the public. There were these Russians partying next to me. I don't know what happened, but I ended up smoking like 3 fucking packs of cigarettes and drinking more vodka than I've drank in so long.
You're not a cigarette smoker.
I'm not a cigarette smoker.
Yeah.
Okay, internationally, I was a cigarette smoker and not proud of it kicked the habit. But
That's funny.
internationally,
Yeah.
those
It's a
motherfuckers
thing.
got a different view.
Doesn't everyone smoke?
Everyone smokes.
Yeah.
Ended up going out with these Russians till like 5 a.m. I'm getting in this car with all these Russians leaving my hostel in Phuket.
That's
And I'm like,
amazing.
all right, let's see where the night goes. But no, they're awesome guys. They were really fun. But yeah, so then that was actually one of my last nights in Phuket. And then, like I mentioned, that's when I went to the islands.
Right.
And the islands are where you want to be in Thailand. If you're going to be like at the beach, like that's the coolest vibe. You take these ferries from the mainland. They got this insanely well-run ferry system that just goes island to island, island to mainland. You get them on them every day. They take all your luggage. I mean, they're just really well run.
Wow.
It's beautiful.
It's like a European train, probably.
Yeah. You just hop on these ferries.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
They just take you where you need to go. So there's this one island called Koh Phi Phi, which is incredibly famous for a lot of different reasons. But one, it's like this smaller island that has all of these hostels, all of these crazy parties, all of these crazy bars, and there's no cars on the island. So it's all walking.
Yeah.
And it's all just like right on top of each other. So like the first day, I thought I'd found heaven on earth. I was up till 6 a.m. partying.
Oh, funny.
Second day, went on this booze cruise. Absolutely incredible. Decided to extend it another night because that was supposed to be my last night. Third day, I woke up so fucking hungover, and I'm just surrounded by like 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds that are all backpacking, like getting fucked up on this island. And there's just no escape. Like there's no AC in this hostel. This is like the hostel that's like the most centrally located around all of the partying, which goes on till 6 a.m. every morning.
Wow.
I was just in the middle of it.
And where are most of the backpackers from? Like Europe or I'm sure Australia, Europe.
Yeah, you get a lot of Europeans, and then you get a mixed bag, really.
Yeah.
But mostly, I mean, I would say mostly Europeans.
You were probably the one of just maybe one or two Americans.
Yeah, not a lot of Americans out there. Not a lot at all.
Yeah. It's very far away.
Yeah. So you get a lot of Europeans, but yeah, I was ready to get the fuck off that island. Like I was hungover, I was partied out. I obviously not older, but I'm like not 21 anymore, and I had worked a job and I had saved enough money where like I didn't need to be staying in dorm rooms. I was staying in dorm rooms to save money.
Yeah.
After that island, I never stayed in another dorm room again. Just travel. I was like, no. I'm like, I'm fucking done.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna spend the $8 extra a night or whatever it is to get my own private because fuck that.
Yeah.
But then I went to another island called Koh Lanta, which the reason I went, I didn't know where I was going to be going, but the reason I went, I heard it was more nature, bigger island, party, but not as much party. And I show up, and I'd never ridden a moped before, a scooter. And you can rent these things anywhere and everywhere, like so easily. So the first day I got no training, got nothing. I went to this island with a few people I was traveling around Phuket with that actually came to Koh Phi Phi with me. We went to Koh Lanta with each other as well. So we rent scooters. I had never driven one. One of the girls is like, oh yeah, I don't want to rent one. Can I ride on the back one of y'all's? And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Why not? So I've never ridden a scooter before. Don't know how to operate it. Don't really know how to drive it.
This is how he picks up women internationally.
A girl is coming on with me too, so I've got cargo on the back, and I end up driving like 35 miles around the island that first day that I ever drove a scooter.
That's cool.
I'm pretty sure I was shirtless as well, so totally different rules over there, which is incredible. You don't have to sign. I mean, you give them your passport when you rent the scooter, so they had my passport, so they know you're not stealing it.
Right.
But yeah, it was a beautiful island.
That's amazing.
You know,
that's cool.
You see like all this beautiful nature. We were just exploring, eating the best
That's
food.
awesome.
But what was fucking sick about Koh Lanta, and I got super, super lucky, is I was there for like 5 days, and the yearly festival that the island has called Lanta Lanta Festival, which is like their massive yearly cultural festival. Street vendors with food, families go with their kids. Everybody on the fucking island is going to this thing.
Mm-hmm.
They have concerts there. They love
Nice.
reggae and like rock
Oh,
over in
cool.
Thailand.
Yeah.
So they've got like all these cool reggae bands. They've got live music for free, like big performances. It's a 3-day long festival, and I just so happened to show up.
Wow.
And I met all these cool people. It's also interesting. You'll find like pockets of certain cultural and ethnic groups around the entire island, or not the island, like internationally. You'll go travel somewhere and it'll be like, why are there just a bunch of Swiss people here? And Koh Lanta specifically was Swiss people. Like they had a whole elementary school with like 108 Swiss kids on this one island in Thailand.
That
like,
live there?
Yeah. So I met some Swiss folks that I was really cool with, and we were
Wow.
hanging out, and they lived on the island, and they were like, did you plan this? Like, what do you mean? They're like, to come during the festival? And I'm like, no. They're like, this is like by far the best fucking thing that happens on this island every year.
What a trip.
So I did that every single day, just explored nature.
That's amazing.
Rode my scooter around.
Did you get to the bottom of why there's this Swiss population in that area? Like what was the draw? Or
It's the same thing. You see it when you travel. It's just it happens with the Israelis too. You know, the Israelis are all over a different island in Thailand that I went to later when I traveled. There's just it's just the way it works. You know, you attract your own kind. So when people,
and they're living there, they're like citizens.
They live there and they vacation there. So
the Hollywood, Florida has a huge Russian population.
Yeah.
Both oligarchs and regular folks.
Yeah.
It's a trip.
They just like to be around their people.
Yeah.
Like they just
some cousin goes there first and
and then they just
this place is fucking awesome, and then they tell family friends about it, and then they move there, and then people go, and is
it expensive?
No, so cheap. Like you wouldn't even believe how cheap. It's crazy. It's everything's so cheap.
They take dollars too, right?
No.
I
mean, you can get dollars easily. But they are bought. So Thailand have baht. So I think 1,000 baht is like $25-30.
Okay.
I think. I'm pretty sure.
So you go drop 1,000 baht on dinner.
Oh, way less than that. You go drop like 200 baht on dinner.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So to live there would be very inexpensive.
Oh yeah. No, it's a totally other.
But it's all relative, right? I mean, if you're a local, do they think it's cheap too, or
no? Well, that's why we're going there with the U.S. dollar.
Yeah.
So it's like I show up and I'm like, you're telling me it costs $3 to have a fucking meal and like a big ass dinner, and we're used to like we go to Chipotle now and it's $18 to get a Chipotle bowl. So it's like, we go over there and it's like, this is amazing. But for the locals, that's just life.
They don't get paid shit.
Yeah. But like for the Swiss people that go there to live.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the biggest draws, internationally is if you have the euro, the power of the euro going somewhere else where they don't, spend as much money, all these things. So yeah, it was incredible.
Was it clean?
I mean, no. Like, look, their definition of clean and like Americans are. I mean, we're like, look, like, I didn't wear shoes when I was over there for like 4 months. like, you know what I mean? Like, it's by our definitions, no, it's not clean.
Right. Is it safe?
The safest place in the world.
Really?
The Thai people are so fucking nice, so just incredibly good people. The one thing I've learned too about a lot of these foreign cultures is like here, the reason that poor people are more dangerous is because like we kind of teach people that it's bad to be poor. So they want something. They want to steal your watch. They want to get more money so they can do something. They want to have more money. It's not really taught over there that being poor. Like in the culture, it's not bad to be
It's just
poor.
the way it
No one
is.
cares. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but even relatively compared to like rich Thai people to not rich Thai people, like it's not in their culture to be like you should be ashamed of not
That's
being
amazing.
rich. So like the poor people are the nicest people on the fucking planet. Like
Yeah.
they're so nice. They just want to give. They actually want to give you. They want to make sure you're having a great time.
Wow. That's amazing.
So yeah, it's really, really safe. Like
Yeah.
I have no point. You feel more safe there, in my opinion. Like I would like, I mean, Thailand, I wasn't surfing, but some of these other places like Indonesia and stuff, like you'll leave your wallet and phone on a cafe counter while you're going to surf, and you'll know it's gonna be back there when you go.
That's amazing.
Um,
I can't even. I
Did you
cannot
go
even
to
imagine.
Indonesia?
yeah. I spent
That's
2
awesome.
months. Yeah.
So, and even for a woman, it would be safe there.
Yes. The next place I went to, I would not fully disclaim that. Sri Lanka.
I was going to say they have some challenges there.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
they're, first of all, some of the Sri Lankans I met were the most amazing people. I still like my hostel owner. I've got really good connections with him. I still talk to him.
Wow.
A few other really
That's
good
really
Sri
cool.
Lankan guys there. Great people, but they're more of an Indian culture. Like,
Mhm.
because they're so close to India.
They're at war too, aren't they? Or isn't there?
No, they're good now.
They are good?
They
Okay.
had something going on.
Yeah.
So when I left Thailand, Sri Lanka's got really good surf. And at
Mhm.
this time it was like around March.
So was that after the festival? Did you leave?
Yes, it was Lanta Lanta Festival, and then I pretty much just had to get back to Phuket to fly to Sri Lanka.
Okay.
So that's when I flew to Sri Lanka.
And you're bringing your surfboards as you're doing all these things.
Yes.
I love it. You've got both a shorty and a longboard.
Yeah,
That cracks me up.
Yeah.
Most people would choose one, but you're like, I'm going for all conditions.
were
Yeah, you
fully
need all
committed.
conditions. You
Fully
need all
committed.
That's
conditions.
awesome.
Did you
I love
have
it.
any locals take a picture of you just because you were?
Oh yeah.
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 I'm sure you were a novelty.
Yeah,
Here's
yeah,
this
yeah.
international novelty rolling in the town.
Yeah. No, it's
That's
not
hilarious.
it's not as much for being like the white man, because it's so international now. They get a lot of white men. It's more like who's this dude that looks like Aquaman
Yeah.
running around right
You
now.
got the beard, the
with
hair, and the
two
nice
surfboards.
tan. Yeah.
But yeah, then I flew to Sri Lanka,
Yeah.
and that's where it. So at this point, I was fucking sick and tired of bouncing around.
Mhm.
I not only had my surfboard, which weighed, the bag probably weighed 45 pounds.
Yeah.
I had a rolling duffel, which weighed 45 pounds as well,
Wow.
and my backpack. So I'd been bouncing around,
Yeah.
going on ferries, carrying surfboards, holding surfboards on top of tuk-tuks, traveling around. I was like, I am ready to be in one spot for a little bit of time here. And Sri Lanka was my next big surf location. Really good waves in Sri Lanka, good surf towns, great vibe. So I had heard. I'd actually gotten recommended Sri Lanka by a German friend of mine who was in Costa Rica. He had lived there and worked there as a surf instructor. So when I was leaving Costa Rica, whenever all this happened, one of my last nights, I'm out getting beers with him and a few other buddies, and they were like, "You've got to fucking go to." She's like, "You got to go to Sri Lanka. You got to go. You got to go. You got to go."
For the surf.
Yeah, just for everything.
Yeah,
He's like, "You'll
yeah.
love it there." So I'm going to Sri Lanka now.
Yeah.
So I show up. I'm there for a month and a half. I
Wow.
get there and I rent my own little apartment, pretty much a studio, through the owner of a hostel that I stayed at the first few days. And then I was like, I had a private room in the hostel, but then he helped me book. It was 100 feet down the road from the hostel.
Mhm.
So I had the best of both worlds.
Mhm.
I had the hostel during the day because
Yeah.
the people there were incredible. I met the best people ever in Sri Lanka. Just everybody, every day, we're all on our scooters. We have surfboard racks on our scooters. Where are we surfing today? Where are we going? What
That's
are we
awesome.
doing?
So you weren't working at this point. You're
Oh.
living off of what you.
I hadn't been working
Your
since
savings.
Costa Rica
Yeah. Cool.
when that happened. And Sri Lanka's similar,
Super
very
cheap, I
very
think, right?
cheap,
Yeah.
very cheap. It's actually gone up a ton in the last few years, but still very cheap
Yeah.
relatively. So
So you made friends with the people in the hostel pretty quickly.
a
it
lot
sounds
of
like.
people and locals, like not locals, but locals, yes, but like you get a lot of people that are like me or foreigners that are
Yeah.
have been living there for 6 months. You know, they might have fully relocated there. You get these traveler folks who are there for longer periods of time too. So when you're there for a month and a half, you start running into the same people that are doing what you're doing.
Right.
So I met these amazing people, huge group, and we're just running around every day, surfing, partying.
What town were you in?
I was in Ahangama.
Okay.
It's so Weligama is the more well-known town. It's on the southwest coast of the island.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in Ahangama, which is a little bit north of Weligama, which is like a very well-known surf backpacker.
What's
traveler.
the body of water there?
So you're the Indian Ocean.
The Indian Ocean. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, every fucking day when I surfed, it's reef there. It's all reef there too. I mean,
So
I
you
saw
can
sea
dive.
turtles. I saw sea turtles every day when I'm surfing, just swimming right next to me.
That
You know
is
what's
so
funny
cool.
is when Nathan
So
told
cool.
me you were there, I got on Google Maps. I was driving around the country.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
really
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. So yeah, just hanging out there. That's where I posted up for a little while, surfing every day, partying a shit ton. Ton of Israelis in Sri Lanka. The Israelis love Sri Lanka. So yeah, it was just like this,
Are they treated okay?
yeah, I mean, they've got a huge community there.
Yeah.
So again, it's like, you know, Israelis specifically,
Yeah.
they travel
they have a
the
little
same
pocket.
places. Yeah, they travel the same places.
Yeah.
A lot of Russians in Sri Lanka again as well.
Yep.
What would you say the food?
Oh, it's
is?
like Indian food.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's curry.
Okay.
Curry, papadaks.
Very similar culture, right?
To India.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they get along? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, I think they do. I don't think the Sri Lankans like to be considered similar to Indians because they're Sri Lankans.
It's like
but
offensive probably, but
yeah. But they get along quite well. So.
Did you stay in that little area then?
Yeah, so like I said, I was fucking done.
Yeah.
I finally got to a place where the waves were good every single day. I rented a scooter for a week and a half. So the farthest I went was I drove the scooter one day. We went to a surf competition like an hour and a half north.
Mm-hmm.
So we went up and down the coast a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Other people were doing other stuff like going inland to the mountains to like Ella. But I was in my little surf town again. I had my fucking scooter. I had my good waves. I had the party there.
Yeah.
I had the food there. I had the restaurants I knew. We were going and doing ice baths and sauna every day.
Oh
we
my
were
gosh.
surfing
That's
every
it's
day.
right up her alley.
Oh,
That is
you can do an
amazing.
ice bath over in Asia for like $3.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, wait till I tell you when I got to Bali or in Thailand too. Like, how long do you think, or how much do you think a 90-minute massage in Thailand is? One of the best massages you'll ever get in your life.
I couldn't even guess because I know how much I pay here. So it's got to be like $20.
10, 5.
$7.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
When I was in Asia, I got a massage once every 3 days.
I would too if it was that.
Once,
I
and
couldn't
it's
do it.
better than these. You know, they've got like the Thai women. I've never had someone beat the fuck out of me that bad during a massage. They get on the table, they're on your back.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
it
they're serious about it. Like
Yeah.
they actually know what they're doing.
yeah.
And so I would just go over there and just do
They
that.
probably have their own technique.
Oh, for
Oh,
sure.
yeah, and they got
Right,
for
a
sure.
Thai
Yeah.
technique.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Like a Swedish
That sounds-
massage. or
That's the Thai massage. Yeah.
Yeah.
The massage, the ice bath, and the sauna, that's an ideal vacation for me.
No, that's. I mean,
I wouldn't need to do anything else.
So this was my first kind of taste of it once I was in Sri Lanka. Like there's a lot of these surf locations that internationally, that's the vibe.
Right.
The surf season comes, everybody internationally that's a surfer comes in, travelers like me, people who do it year after year and have
Mhm.
houses there, whatever. It's just the surf comes. It's really
Right.
good
How
waves.
big are the waves? You like
The
10 footers, 20s? It's like
the normal waves in Sri Lanka were like anywhere from 3 foot to like 6 to 8 foot.
so nothing,
Wow.
not crazy, but good.
Yeah, and then the big days that we surfed, like the biggest waves that we were there while we were there were like 12 footers,
Wow.
Okay,
which was a big swell.
Yeah. That'll hurt you.
Yeah, it was fun. It was
Yeah.
really fun. But yeah, so I mean, it's this whole like holistic idea. You know, that's how it is. It's so great. You just ride around on your surfboard or your scooter, go
Mhm.
into all the different beaches with your surfboard. You find, look, how's the break look today? Okay, let's go check out the other one. Let's go
Yeah.
check out the other one. Okay, hop in the water, surf for a few hours. go grab some breakfast.
That's awesome.
Go surf again.
Yeah.
Do they have yoga?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So they've got yoga everywhere you go. So you go do yoga, you do whatever.
So you were just zenning out.
Yeah, I actually I'm a certified yoga teacher now.
Are you really?
I went back to Thailand at the end of my travels and became
No.
a certified yoga teacher.
You have to tell Kaya.
Yeah.
She's gotten really into yoga.
I'm in
Nathan told me about that. You really got into it.
Yeah. I was more into it in Denver, actually.
Okay.
But I've always loved it. It's always been great for me. But
Do you do hot yoga?
no, that's actually more of an American thing.
Is it really?
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
a gimmick.
interesting.
I
It's a
told you.
gimmick.
I
is a
love it.
gimmick.
I love
It's
the
a
way I
gimmick.
feel.
No, it
afterwards.
is. It's a
Yeah.
little. It's very like us disrespecting what yoga is supposed to be.
Oh
But no,
man.
but I've done hot yoga before and I liked it a lot.
Because
Yeah,
yoga's
yeah.
supposed to be about relaxing, right? And becoming one, not having stress.
Yeah. So
Which is what the heat is.
yoga is actually the Sanskrit word for union,
Mm.
and it's supposed to be like the union of the mind, body, and spirit.
Mhm.
So like it's interesting because yoga isn't a workout.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like yoga
Yes.
isn't a workout.
Yes.
It's like almost a religion in
It
the
is
sense
for
of
me,
the word.
though.
It is.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is,
Yeah.
you know how we are in America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's take this, commercialize it.
Yeah.
It's a workout.
You're
Go
so
to your
right.
yoga workout.
You're
Yeah.
so right. Yeah.
But no, so it was interesting. One of my French friends, shout out Helen, the French homie, the best. She's way more interesting than me. She's on her way back from Southeast Asia right now, but she's
Yeah.
going all the way back to France without taking a fucking plane. So she's taking like
How's
boats and trains. She's going through China and Russia
Wow.
to get back to France. And then she signed up in Turkey for a sailing team that's going to take her through the Mediterranean to Greece. Like she is a little badass. But
Yeah, it's a little
Alone?
trip.
She's doing all this alone?
oh yeah, she's been traveling alone. She actually got
Wow.
yoga certified in India. And I was talking to her a lot in Sri Lanka. So this is kind of where like a crazy great friend group just started forming in Sri
Mhm.
Lanka. A
Mhm.
lot of people that we all were surfing with each other every day, guys, girls, doing yoga, going to ice baths, partying. It was all just kind of coming together. And we're there, and the next big spot is Bali
Mm.
in Indonesia.
Mhm.
So we start kind of finding out as we're all getting closer, all doing our thing. Oh, about 6 of us are going straight to Bali from here,
Yeah.
and about 5 others are planning on going to Bali in the months following that. Hey, you 5, change your travel plans. Let's all go to Bali with each other. And we actually just rented villas, like 10 to
cool.
12 person massive villas
Wow.
for like our budget, because we had a very wide range of individuals. I mean, some of these people were 20-year-old Germans who had just finished high school and they were traveling before uni. Some of
Right.
these people were like me. Some of these people were, it was all
Yeah, that's
across the
cool.
board.
Yeah.
One of them was an Irish dude I'm friends with. He's fucking 19 years old. Like I met him in Sri Lanka. He came to Bali, but we got this group of amazing people who are all doing the same thing. We're all just traveling. There was a Norwegian guy, a UK guy, an Irish guy, a few Germans, me. And we then, we leave Sri Lanka and we go all to Bali with each other,
Yeah.
and we start renting out villas with each other in Bali.
That's cool.
So instead of staying in hostels,
Yeah.
we just look at these massive fucking villas with like 6 or 7 bedrooms and massive pools, and we're getting them for like $15-$20 a night
Wow.
Wow.
each, obviously.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. But still.
So
Jeez.
You guys all got along. No weird shit.
no weird shit. It
That's
was
cool.
really, really good.
Drama free.
Yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of bullshit, but you know how it is when you get a big group
Yeah.
of people. We were all just razzing each other, and it got to the point where like, we figured out that, nobody was hooking up with each other at this
Mhm.
point. We were all like friends, so you know how it gets when there's a bunch of guys hanging out with a bunch of girls and they're not hooking up. The guys
Yeah.
start treating the girls like sisters and giving them so much shit. They're
Yeah.
like, "Fuck
Yeah.
you guys, we don't even want to hang out with
Yeah,
you
yeah,
anymore."
yeah. It's true.
It literally
That's so true. That's
got
so
to that
true.
point where
Yeah.
we'd been doing the villas for like a month at this point. And some of the girls were like, "We're going to go back to hostels for like a week or two."
just to get away
and,
from
and
you
we're all like, what the fuck? We've got the best thing in the world going on right now. And the girls were like, no, fuck you guys. Like, we're over your shit. They're like, all the other guys are way nicer to us. And we're like, yeah, because they're trying to fuck you. It's like, we're being real with you. Like, we're giving you shit. We're fucking around you. We're like, you're the guys that you met at the hostel for one night are being nicer to you than we are. We're like, oh my God, there's no way. Like, there's no way they are. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, it was
that's
that was
so funny.
That was really like the
They
sweet
just needed
spot.
a break.
And Bali was my favorite place by far. I want to move back there. It's fucking
I've heard
incredible.
it's beautiful.
Is it absolutely as beautiful as everyone says?
The waves are the best in the world. Indonesian people, best culture. The island itself, so amazing. It's the perfect amount of Western influenced culture with Eastern.
There's a Muslim population too, though.
They're mainly Muslim.
Yeah. So how's that working for them? Sounds like it's working fine.
Yeah, like honestly, you kind of find out a lot of these Asian countries are Muslim.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
because Buddhism, they've got a lot of Buddhism there as well, which I love the Buddhism and all of that. But the thing with Buddhism is you can be Buddhist and also have a religion, you know?
Yeah.
And Buddhism's a little bit more relaxed, where if you look at all of the major religions of the world, they're kind of the ones that tell you.
Yeah.
Like Christianity, Islam, Judaism.
Yeah.
They're telling you like this is what you have to believe.
Right.
So especially with Buddhism, they've got a lot of Buddhism there, but you know, Islam is kind of taken over most of the Asian countries.
Yeah, it really has.
Yeah, even in Thailand.
Yeah.
Most of the people there are Islamic as well. Yeah. But no, it was, I mean, that's kind of when it hit that sweet spot. And also where the girlfriend comes into play, full circle, one of those weddings in America, Bailey and Pierce's wedding. Right. You guys know Pierce.
Yeah.
A girl that I hit it off with at one of those weddings, I was like, hey, you should come visit me in Asia. So she actually had the balls to come fly out to Bali.
Wow.
So in the middle of me doing my world travels and meeting all of these fucking people, because she was planning to come to Bali before I knew I was with all of these people, traveling from Sri Lanka, surfing with them every day, living the dream. We're all hanging out with each other. Yeah. So she now is coming to Bali to hang out with me, a guy who she had one big weekend with.
Right.
And then now there's this whole group of people as well.
Right.
And she came in and she was amazing. Super seamless. Everyone loved her. It was so much fun.
Cool.
Blah, blah, blah. All this amazing stuff. So she was there the first 2 weeks and then left. But
that's awesome. That is really awesome.
Yeah. So but that was like, this was literally when we were in Bali and after we left Sri Lanka, this group, what we did, so many people just kind of like for me, I was planning the rest of my travel and everybody was kind of like, we're not going to beat this. We're like, this is just so good right now. Yeah. We're like, we're staying in villas in Bali with a group of people that we're all getting along so well.
Yeah.
We're just fucking surfing every day. Like I had a full routine. I was going to the gym every day with one of my Irish buddies. We'd wake up, we'd go surf, we'd get breakfast, we'd maybe surf again, we'd go to the gym. Then we'd go out at night to these amazing bars. Like it was just, everything's so
cool.
cheap. And the
safe.
rules and laws are different. So like I'm riding around on my scooter everywhere with no shoes and no helmet and no shirt everywhere I go.
And
like
that's totally fine. Nobody
gives a fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Like the rules over there is as long as you're not fucking with someone else or doing something really wrong, you'll be fine. Like they're bygones. Let bygones be bygones.
That's
like,
awesome.
Is it safe?
Yes. It's well, like I mean, is it safe to ride a scooter with no helmet and no shirt, and no shoes?
No, you know what I mean.
No, do not do that. But yeah, it's safe. It's so safe. I feel so safe there.
And for women too.
Yeah, women as well. Sri Lanka was a little. I had an incident in Sri Lanka where I got surrounded by 10 men at a jungle party while I was on some psychedelics and some stimulants and got threatened to get my ass beat because again, cultural differences. Which this is real. This is true. They're not bad people because their culture is different. Women in India are not treated with the same level of respect that women in the United States are. Male dominated.
Yeah.
So women in Sri Lanka, you won't even really see Sri Lankan women out. You won't see them out at the bars or anything. They're not like really allowed to go out. And then now we have all these beautiful Western women running around in skimpy bikinis around there. Like, so these Sri Lankan guys are, trying to go for them.
Right.
And it's just being done in a non-traditional way for the Western girls. So I had a few girls who, honestly, they did in no way help themselves, put themselves in some awkward situation with Sri Lankan guys, asked me to help bail them out of it, kind of be the male shield. That happens a few times.
That's not
Sri
cool.
Lankan guys see you being the guy that's helping stop those situations. And these Sri Lankan guys see you being the guy who's, they're dancing with a girl, and all of a sudden the girl comes and grabs you and tries to get you to, and then it happens again, and then it happens again. And all of a sudden you're surrounded by 10 Sri Lankan guys in a jungle party in the middle of fucking Sri Lanka where you don't know anybody, and they're calling you big man, saying you think you're big man, like you need to respect us, you need to respect our culture. And I'm like on some acid and some other stuff, and I'm just like, please just I respect you. Trust me, you are respected.
You talk your way out of it?
Oh yeah, it was totally fine. I mean, it was one of those sobering moments where I kind of got pissed off at a lot of the girls because I was like, look.
Well, they set you up a little fucked up in some ways.
Well, were the girls pretty much though acting the way they would here?
Yeah.
And they didn't. Well, did they maybe understand?
They knew
the severity of the situation?
They did after I explained it to them.
But before that, they
did not.
They were doing what they would normally do here.
They thought, you ask once, and it was multiple women not knowing the string of events were correlated.
Right.
So the one thing that was correlated were all these dudes that were trying to dance and get with these girls, and even were dancing and making out with some of these girls. But then when it reached a point where the girls wanted it to stop, I was being used as the scapegoat to stop it and be like,
not okay.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden I get singled out.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, look, fellas, I just want to fucking dance in the woods in Sri Lanka right now. I want nothing to do. But I mean, that was the only thing is, you just gotta be smart. And that's what I had to tell a lot of these younger girls I was traveling with that were like 19, 20.
Yeah.
So I'm like, look, we're living the dream right now. It's incredible. You're at this hostel meeting all these cool people, and every single night there's a different party, and you go to it and you're having the fun and blah, blah, blah. But then boom, all of a sudden you realize that you're 1,000 miles away from home and you're in a different culture where like you've got to realize what you're doing. Like you can't just like that doesn't fly certain places.
Right.
Like, women aren't necessarily allowed to normally just be like, oh, not say no, but like it's different in different places.
You're not necessarily an equal here.
You're not an equal.
Right. They're not respected.
You're not respected the same way that you would be respected in, Europe or, the United States.
Yeah.
Like you're not. And it's just, that was the big thing we talked about because we love so many of the Sri Lankan guys. It was really more about just like, they're all so such amazing people. It's just about the education aspect of it. Because how do you expect, if that's their culture and that's the way things have been forever, like, let's be real here. Like, Me Too and respecting women kind of just happened here.
Yeah.
We can't just all of a sudden be like, oh, we changed it 4 years ago. You guys have got to be right. Yeah, so it's very.
Yeah. I mean, I think, but probably a lot of it goes along with their culture and also their religion, I would assume too, right?
Yeah, I mean, it all like,
So going there as a woman, you really should educate yourself as much as possible on the customs if you're going somewhere,
Yeah. I mean, look.
As anybody, male or female.
Right.
Look.
But women have a different experience than men wherever they go.
Yeah. I'll put it this way. Here we have freedom of speech. If you go to fucking China,
right,
and you want to go exercise your freedom of speech, be prepared to maybe get detained by the Chinese government. It's not the same rule book. You're not playing by the same rule book. Learn the rule book of where you're going to play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I respect and love women more than anybody. Like I think they're my equals. I'm all of that. But like if we're in fucking Sri Lanka, don't
Right.
get mad at me
Right.
that Sri Lanka is a different rule book than
Right.
where
Yeah.
you're from.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, that's important to know, especially like that's really on them to educate themselves
yeah.
before they go.
Yeah.
So they were lucky to have you and that
It
you were
was,
there.
it was
you
good.
know?
It was all there. I don't think anything would have gone wrong at any point. Like I said, they're mostly good guys. They just don't know that they're being too aggressive.
Right.
But yeah, no, so that was good. But Indonesia, Thailand, those
Yeah.
more Asian, more back towards
Yeah.
Asia, not as much India influence. Like
Yeah.
that was like literally, I'm not joking, anywhere I was at, no matter what the situation, I felt safer than when I was in the US.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And Bali, what would you say if you're in Bali? Well, you were in that one area, or did you venture out at all?
So Bali's a very large island.
Yeah.
But I did stay in the same area for like 2 months. I went and did some other stuff.
Yeah.
But Bali for me, again, like I just wanted to surf
Yeah.
every single day.
Yeah.
And I was in Uluwatu, which was like the
Okay.
best area for surfing.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like nonstop every day. We're going surfing. And then we had the spas and we had the going
Right.
out.
Right.
And it was just like I literally got so familiar. I didn't need my GPS. Like after a month,
Wow.
I was just riding around anywhere within like 45 minutes I could get to without GPS.
So with Bali, it seems like it was more about the experience than going and seeing things. It was more about experiencing
Yeah.
Bali and
Yeah.
being there and
Yeah.
present, completely present.
Like I was like meeting I was like fully localed in towards the end. Like I knew it was not mainly Indonesian people. It was morely Western folks who had transported there, but like were living the same lifestyle and
Yeah.
were fully living in Bali. Like I had my friend group that was like living there. I was
Right,
like
right.
fully immersed, and it was just the greatest lifestyle.
That feels like
amazing.
your theme, though. It's not like you just roll in as a tourist. You're immersing yourself in.
No, I like
outside
to.
of Singapore, maybe, right?
Yeah, I like to immerse. I like
Yeah.
to.
You get behind the scenes.
You see what's going
you
on.
See what's going
You
on.
see-
Yeah.
It was like the same. That's what I liked about Costa Rica.
Yeah.
You're there long enough to start going to the same spots. You start
Mhm.
seeing this, like you start seeing the same people when you surf. You get out of the
Yeah.
water. You go grab a beer. Oh, I see that. I've seen that group of people here for the last 3 weeks. Maybe they live here. Maybe they're not just travelers. You start talking to each other.
Yeah.
Oh, where are you from? So
Yeah.
it's just I like it more because you get you there is that like touristy bounce in bounce out group, which I've been a part of before, but you don't get into the local group.
Yeah,
You
totally.
just stay in that
Yeah.
like, hey, you're a tourist, go party with tourists. Like
Right.
we don't want to party with you guys because
Right.
this is where we're living for 3 months, or this is where we live full time. Like
Right.
we've got
right.
our friend group here and our routine here.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
One thing we haven't talked about is music. I know you're a big music fan.
yeah.
How was the music scene as you were traveling around?
Yeah, I mean, look, like everywhere that I went with partying now, like from an electronic standpoint, you're gonna
Okay.
get that like
Yeah,
party house music, techno music.
Yep.
So, but like from a live music perspective, yeah, it goes pretty dry. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I saw so like Thailand has some really good live music, and they really like recreating like American style, like
Rock and roll,
rock and
70
roll,
classic type of
and they're
shit.
good too.
Yeah.
So I saw some live music in Thailand, but yeah,
And you saw the music festival.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
but it's more like live music out at bar. You're not going to concerts
Yeah,
as
yeah.
much. So, but then again, like Bali, like you get some really big concerts there because it's one of the bigger spots.
Wow, that's interesting. So with the language there, is it English?
So they
or-
have so they speak a lot of English, but in English is like predominantly kind of all these places.
Okay.
It's what everybody like lands on.
Yeah.
It's like,
Right.
okay, all the Europeans, they kind of speak English pretty well.
Mhm.
Most people internationally speak
Yeah.
English pretty well.
Yeah.
So like that's kind of what gets spoke.
So it seems like you're
Yeah,
only
spoken.
Spoken.
Yeah.
Sure.
Spoke.
It seems like your only real maybe lost in translation moments could have happened in Morocco, but you had Ali with you. But other than that, you could get by on English.
Yeah. And you could even, I mean, especially with the translators on the phone nowadays.
Yeah, that's
like,
true. That's true. Yeah.
And you can always find somebody that speaks English in these places. Maybe like Helen, like I was talking about,
Mhm.
she
Yeah.
has some not worries, but like there are going to be some places like in Russia and China where like not a single fucking person will speak like English, and like that's just the way it goes.
And then that's where she'll use the translator, basically.
Yeah. Oh no, she just kind of won't speak to anybody. To be fair, like they won't even get it.
So then what about the food in Bali?
Oh, so good. It's the perfect mix. Like I said, they've got so like the local food is like, you know, they've got mie goreng, mie kwa, which is like noodles and chicken, you know, like kind of like you know, they've got seafood, like soup, like very what you would think of kind of like Asian cuisine. But then they've got so much good Western food over there because it's so Bali's Westernized in the sense where like it's got the most, besides Thailand's got a lot of it, but Bali's got like, you feel like you can be very, I don't want to say be Western, but like, oh, let's go to a breakfast cafe that's like they're serving like eggs Benedict at. Like,
you can get a burger.
Oh, burgers, Italian food,
okay.
Mexican food. Like they've got it all. So really, really good food there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It seems like everywhere you went, I mean, there aren't any negatives.
No, it's absolutely, I love Asia.
And that you just had such a positive experience everywhere you went.
Yeah. Was that your last stop, Bali?
No, so I capped it off with, I went back to Thailand to an island, Koh Phangan, and I went to a month-long yoga teacher training.
That's what Nathan was telling me about,
Yeah, this was like a total switch up because I went fully, this is when I quit nicotine. I was very much smoking cigarettes, vaping, doing all of that the whole time. So when I went to the yoga retreat, first of all, it was all vegan food, vegan buffet.
Oh, nice.
What made you do this? What was your motivation?
I just personally like yoga. And one, you can get a much more authentic experience over there. Two, it's incredibly cheap. So for 2,000 euros, I got like to go to this retreat for a month, which included my housing and 3 meals a day at a buffet. So for
pretty good value.
And the certification. So unlimited food, housing for a month, and the yoga teacher training for 2,000 euros in Thailand, where it's very like authentic.
Wow.
So yeah, like I just kind of had a month left. I had been doing the surf thing for like 4 months still. And I was kind of just like, look, you're either going to just keep surfing. I was looking at like Philippines and going to the Siargao.
Yeah.
I was like, you like switch it up a little bit, you know, like go change the vibe. This is something you really want to do. You'll always be super happy you did it. You'll have the certification, you'll get the knowledge. And it was just great last month before I came home. I really did. Like I didn't have a phone. Like, oh my God. Yeah. My phone kept fucking breaking over there too. I didn't have a phone in Sri Lanka for 18 days.
Wow.
It was the greatest days of my life. It was incredible on my scooter, no phone, no nothing.
Nice.
I bet.
But anyways, so I you know, I get back, I go there and it's just a total switch up. Vegan, gave up coffee, gave up alcohol, didn't smoke weed.
Nice.
So like
you just did a cleanse.
Yeah. And I, you know, was at the yoga teacher training, and then it was pretty much did that. It was absolutely incredible. Would recommend it to everybody. It was
like a reset.
Yeah. And then I flew back from Thailand all the way to Southern California.
Wow. And you have family there, you said?
Yep. And I was staying with my aunt. My girlfriend came out. She wasn't my girlfriend yet. She flew back out there, made her my girlfriend in California. She met the family. Now we're back in the States. And to make it all full circle, I leave in another week to go to Burning Man again for 2 weeks.
Oh, nice.
So
you have to tell us. Okay, so how long was that trip?
So I left Costa Rica in November.
Of 23?
Of 23.
Yeah.
And I returned to the U.S. in July.
Wow. So you really just got back.
I just got back.
Yeah, cool.
A month ago.
So how was the acclimation to being back in America?
Like the reinsertion.
Yeah.
It's been interesting. The first 2 weeks were, easy. I was staying at my aunt's beach house in Southern California while she was in Hawaii with my girlfriend, who I hadn't seen in 2.5 months.
Yeah.
Not working still, just surfing every day. I'd say now is when it's gotten a little bit more weird. I mean, I've got Burning Man coming up, but I don't want to go back to corporate. I kind of despise corporate a little bit right now. I think I like being a genuine person. I think that there's some things in life that you just, live by. And I think corporate's almost like a veil for people to act like pieces of shit and have kind of like it's for the business.
Yeah.
No, I know. Oh, it's just business.
Yeah,
I just treated that person like dog shit and lied to them, but it's just business.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like,
it's kind of fucked up.
Is that like, is that what we're just going with that? Like, we're just going to treat each other like shit, work ourselves to death, and just say it's just business. I'm like, so I don't know. I'm not looking to hop back into corporate, but getting back to the point, it's like, it's a little interesting coming back now, you know, with the girlfriend.
Well, did you go from California to here?
I went from California to Denver to Atlanta to here.
Okay. So that's been like the last month. You basically
been California 2 weeks, Denver like 3 or 4 days, Atlanta 3 days, back here for like a week. And then now I'm taking the train to Tampa and then Burning Man and then back to Denver to be permanently in Denver for the time being while I figure everything else out. What it's looking like right now is it's going to be a full ski season in Denver.
Nice.
I'm honestly at this point just stoked to like be in the same location for 2 weeks and not have to move. Very fortunately, but unfortunately, it's my mom's 60th next month. So they just planned a 60th at the Breakers in September. So then right after fucking Burning Man, I've got to hop on another flight. And I'm literally just like, all I want to do is sit on my girlfriend's couch and watch fucking House of Dragons. I haven't seen it yet.
I won't tell you anything.
Is she based in Denver?
Yeah.
So that's where you're going to be staying. Then.
Yeah, she's got a house in Denver.
Oh,
That's
she's
great.
a bad little, excuse me, baby bitch. She's a bad bitch.
Yeah.
She's got her house.
That's awesome.
She works at Deloitte, so she's great. And
Nice.
she's got a place. So works out really well for me. And I'm looking at some opportunities right now. Selling land in Costa Rica is one of them. There was another, I really ultimately like life goal after that whole trip, open up a place on the beach. It's got a restaurant, co-working kind of vibe, but also like a yoga studio with ice bath sauna. You kind of saw a lot of these places internationally, and I want to do this in Bali.
That makes sense. There's a market.
It's a huge market.
You've seen it in different countries, and cool.
So you want to do that in Bali?
I would love to do that in Bali.
Over Costa Rica?
Costa Rica is logistically easier.
Yeah.
It's 4 hours flight.
Yeah.
Bali's tough.
Yeah.
But
so do you have the travel itch out of your system right now? Are you ready to settle a little bit?
I'm ready to settle right now, but the travel itch is never gone.
Yeah.
You just can't. Once you see the world like that and you see how not easy, but like it's so doable.
Right.
It's so doable, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking forward to the next thing, but I'm going to settle for a little bit. So.
Would you ever consider taking time and traveling America?
I've done a lot of America.
So you feel like you've covered it pretty much?
I mean, I haven't covered it all, but I've driven cross country like 3 times at this point.
So
and I love it, but fuck if you're going to take the time, in my opinion, with the exchange rate, you know, like once you get over to Asia,
the dollar's pretty good right now.
Like I mean, in Bali, if like I went back right now, I could probably, everything included, housing, partying, food, I could live a very comfortable, happy life for $1,000 to $1,500 a month in Bali. So like you take $10,000, you can go have yourself a year in Bali. If you're living like me, you know, I'm 27 and you know, I'm not my parents, so they're probably going to be doing a little bit nicer stuff than I am. But like, if you're living like Nate and I want to live, like you kind of just have the time.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So real quick, give us a little synopsis of Burning Man. Like, what is that experience? Overall?
Lord, that is the craziest experience ever. And I think the most interesting thing is it gets correlated to music a lot, which it is. It is a music, but it's so much more than that. Just like from the art to the community to the experience, it really is just I forget exactly how they describe it, but it's like a community that comes together for 2 weeks, and like it's an operating city essentially. Like it really is.
Will you be there the full 2 weeks?
Yeah, I'm going in early to help set up.
Oh wow.
So you're kind of on staff then?
No, it's for my camp. So there's no. We could really go down the rabbit hole here, but we'll save that for another time. But yeah, it's the coolest event I've ever been to in my life, and it's just out in the desert, music going on 24/7, but there's no lineup, so you don't know who you're seeing.
Okay,
you don't know who you're watching.
Is it a surprise?
No, it's not a surprise because there's no event. Like so you know how at a normal event the stages are
Yeah.
put on by the event.
Mhm.
The stages are put on by the attendees.
Oh, okay.
So like everything at the event is attendee run and organized.
So you could show up with the stage, set it up, and get up there and play music.
There's got to be
that's
some
spontaneous?
hierarchy.
So there's a
of some sort.
hierarchy.
Okay.
There's a
Okay.
there is a large overarching Burning Man organization that handles a lot of the licensing with the like government, licensing with the police, the infrastructure,
Yeah.
etc. But the event, like the event itself,
Yeah.
all of the things occurring inside of the event, that's all attendees bringing shit in, doing their own shit, setting up their own stages,
Okay.
having their own art cars, doing all of their own stuff. You can't buy food once you're there.
So you bring everything and you make it there.
Can you barter food?
Well, it's a gifting type culture.
Okay.
So everybody's giving. Everybody's
Yeah.
giving shit out. You know, our camp, for instance, has a dinner every night for our camp.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, like I was riding a bike around the desert one night, late night out deep in the desert, and there was like a light off in the distance, and I like ride up to it with my buddy John. We get there, and it's a fucking wood fire pizza oven.
Yeah.
3 miles out in the middle of the desert at 2 a.m. in the morning. And there's just like a line of 8 people with their bikes parked there, and people are just serving pizza for free.
Oh my gosh.
It's all free. Yeah, once you're inside.
Wow. So it's just such a unique experience that you probably can't really even describe unless you go to it. Right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the whole first night I went there, and I've been to a lot of music festivals and large events and things like that. I was literally just scratching my head going, how the fuck is any of this legal, and how the fuck are we allowed to do this stuff right now? So,
Yeah. Is it held in the same place every year?
yeah, it's actually its own city. So Burning Man got the area in Nevada created as a city, and a lot of the people that go to Burning Man actually are on the city board. So there's a whole like,
Do people live there?
no, it's only a city for two. It's a literally just desert.
Wow.
So it's very high. How it's run is beyond me. I don't know how they do it, but it's very like very smart, intelligent people.
Very deep pocketed.
Yeah, deep pocketed, very well connected. Have been putting this on logistically for a while.
So you're going to Tampa and flying out of Tampa to Nevada.
Yep.
For Burning Man.
Yep.
And then from there you're going to Denver.
That's it.
So you won't be here for Base Nectar New Year's Eve?
Maybe I will. Maybe I'll make a surprise.
That's so far
visit.
out. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see.
Keep that
If
in
that
mind.
even happens.
Yeah, well, if that happens, I think we're going.
Oh, well, okay. Well, then maybe I'll have to be there.
Yeah. So
I don't know. Billy Strings is playing in New Orleans.
I've heard you've been big
a
on
big
Billy
Billy
Strings.
We just
Strings.
were up in Penn State University.
Yeah.
You know they love him in Denver.
I'm sure.
Huge.
You
His
got to
Red
check
Rocks.
him out.
Yeah.
That was one of my notes, is to tell you, check out Billy and check out Sam Grisman project.
Nice.
Yeah,
And
I know.
Grisman, they were out in Telluride, I don't know, whenever.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah. They
It's
go.
awesome.
They go. I mean, literally the Red Rocks Billy String shows people go fucking nuts for.
Now
We
we
were looking
would
at
fly
going
out
to-
for that. Yeah.
We were looking to go to Tulsa
Yeah.
and Memphis, but we just have scheduling conflicts.
Well, we can't do Memphis. We could maybe do Tulsa, but Memphis lacrosse. But Brian has definitely gotten the bug.
I love it.
The Billy Strings bug.
Yeah.
Well, but if I want to go to a Base Nectar New Year's Eve show, I've never been to one. I know you guys have done that.
Yeah, we've done it.
Yeah,
You
I haven't
you
done
should
that.
kill
One
me.
more question, then I'll let you go. How does your family handle all your traveling or feel about it?
They love it. I think they instilled it in me from a young age. Kind of travel, go, do your thing. And I don't think they ever thought it would reach this, but you know, their whole thing, as long as I'm not like an idiot and I'm not like running on 0 or running on E and then coming back and being like, Mom, Dad, you know, I need help. As long as I'm self-sustaining, they don't give a shit.
That's awesome.
They're like, do their thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been good.
Listen, we can't thank you enough for giving so much of your time to tell us about your experiences, because it's so fascinating.
Yeah.
And it's awesome to hear, from someone your age having these experiences and your perspective on them and your world as you're going through it all. So
I heard Matthew McConaughey say a while ago, you know, he wanted to look back on his life and really enjoy the picture he painted. So I had to take a step away from corporate for a little bit and say, fuck it. Right. I want to look back and be able to kind of say, I did it. I did all this fun shit. So
if you can do it, a guy who's been in corporate for 30 years, don't fucking go corporate.
Yeah. You know,
figure a way out to to not do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's advice to all kids, Nathan and Kaya as well. Don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You may have to dabble at times, but hop in and hop back out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you're definitely painting your own masterpiece. So
Oh, well, thank you.
Listen,
Thank you.
if you, in another year, I'd love to have you back and
Yeah,
hear about this the year
Every
from
time
now.
you come back to Boca, if you've hit 5 or 10 cities in between,
we want to hear
come
about
back.
it.
We'll
yeah.
renew
It can't be 1 or 2. That's way too boring.
Yeah. Don't
now
worry.
you have to top this,
Don't
but
worry.
it'll be a series.
Good. All right, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so
Awesome, man.
much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for listening.